Shocker, shocker, shocker. We're live. Welcome back, everybody, to another Agency Owners Q&A with all the smart, talented, good-looking folks. Obviously, if you don't watch these things, it means you're ugly. I mean, what other conclusion can you possibly draw? For those of you guys who are new here, my name's Frankie Finn. I wrote those 2 best-selling books. Built 3 of my own agencies up to 100+ clients, and I've been doing this shit like 20 years. Helped thousands of you guys over those like 20 years. Quick little announcement. I've been rocking on this, but if you guys want to learn the art of video closing and replacing sales calls and instead send out 5-minute videos, get paid from that, which I think personally is a way fucking better way of doing it. You decide what's right for you, but I'm telling you personally, it's way better. And everybody I know who's done it agrees. If that sounds like your cup of tea, we're building the system workshop style. When I say workshop style, like we have, sometimes, you know, you go to an event, and most events are like this. You hear a bunch of speakers, you take a bunch of notes, you do some networking, and then you go home with a to-do list. The purpose of this event is for you to go home with a done list, which I think is way better than a to-do list. So if you guys are interested in coming to Los Angeles, I'm just going to put LA in the chat, put a link for you guys, and come party with us is what I'm saying. Come hang, come build, come do some cool shit. I'll show you guys. Selling through video, by the way, is not limited to agency services, so you can actually sell a lot of shit. So if you're interested in that, come hang. If you're not, that's cool. But I would highly encourage you to, because it's a better way of doing it. Anyways, there's the link. Enough about that. Let's get into the good shit here. I'm going to take a big swig of this from it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. The man they call the man, His Holiness, the Lord of the Dad Bod, 170 pounds of pure steel and sex appeal. It's me, Frankie Finn, who watched too much wrestling as a kid. All right, let's get into the questions. Enough jibba jabba. So Dwight asks, hey, folks, does anyone know of a good white label partner for SEO and pay-per-click? Just so you know, by the way, my first agency was a white label agency before white label even had a name. I just had a guy contact me and said, hey, I sell websites. My clients are asking about SEO. I don't do SEO. Would you be down to try this one client? And we did. And then he didn't tell me that he had hundreds of web design clients, and I became his back of house, so to speak. So if you guys are looking for white label partners, we do have a list, and I update it frequently. So there you go. We add and remove names based on what's working now. Beach mode engaged or zero fuck mode engaged. Paul, thank you for that. I think they're both the same, right? Beach mode, zero fucks given. But I would say start your search. I'm not saying those are the only good white label partners. I'm sure there's other good ones that I don't know about. But, you know, shorten the research phase. Start with the proven list. I put it in the chat for you guys. Anybody. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with the term white label partner is like a subcontractor. So like for example, when a home builder builds a house, often there's like tasks they don't do. They might not do plumbing. They might not do electrical, right? They might not do foundation stuff. So I don't know. I'm not a builder, right? Like I'm just kind of bullshitting a little bit, just to kind of make the point. But like, let's say they don't do electrical. Well, they're going to hire a subcontractor. That subcontractor, as far as the person building the house is concerned, is just part of the company, right? Like it's not like a separate company. They hired the one home builder and they hire a subcontractor. That's what a white label partner is. You get hired to do SEO. You don't know how to do SEO. You hire a white label partner. Just like when the home builder hires the electrician, there's a spread of money. They might bill him out at $70 an hour and pay him 40 and pocket 30, like the same kind of idea, right? So if you've never used a white label partner, that's what a white label partner is. And if you're interested, there's our list. Also, by the way, that thing has a list of the recommended software. If you guys are like wondering what should I use, probably could use a facelift. It's hard to stay on top of all the AI tools these days because they change every 5 minutes. But there's our list. All right. Next question. Timmy says, hey, I'm currently filling in contact forms to do cold outreach. Not many, just filled 15. Is this a good way to do cold outreach? Timmy, I always appreciate when people like get off their ass, go do shit, make some effort. So you're at 15. 15 is just a starting place, just so you know. Like, that's barely scratching the surface, but you're taking action, which I appreciate. I'm here to tell you, I think I don't think cold outreach is the best way to grow an agency anyway, but I think people are way too tactical about it and not strategic. What do I mean by that? Most people just spray and pray. I call it the internet bukkake. If you know what that is, you're a disgusting human being, but so am I, so it's all good. But they just spray their shit everywhere and then just hope if they fire enough spaghetti at the wall, things will stick. I'm not saying if you don't do that, it won't work. But man, like, I think that's a really inefficient way of growing this business, like a really inefficient way of growing this business. So I'll tell you the first most important detail of cold outreach is you get a qualified list of prospects. By the way, there are a lot of tools that do this, but I actually just use ChatGPT Deep Research. So if you guys have never used this on the paid version of ChatGPT, when there's a drop-down menu, when you have a chat, there's an option to go deep research. And what deep research will do is it'll actually like scan the internet. It takes like 20, 30 minutes to actually give you an answer. So like normally when you run ChatGPT or equivalent language model, it gives you an answer in like 10 to 30 seconds. But with deep research, it actually scans the internet and does some compiling and running numbers and things like that. So what I have to do is I go, make me a list of roofers. And here's the two criteria that I give it. One, they have advertising pixels on their website. So Google and Facebook, ideally, because that means they're spending money. And two, they have a certain team size. So I'd say, give me all the roofers in Texas that have advertising pixels and have a team of at least 10, and I get a list of those people. So before I even begin, right, I make sure I'm aiming it at people who can spend money on that shit. Get that shit wrong. The analogy I use, if you get this shit wrong, just so you know, imagine I say, okay, we got a product. We're going to sell barbecue pork ribs. And then I send you to the Jewish Vegetarian Conference. I go make some sales. Like, I don't care what your message is. I don't care what your offer is. I don't care how good you say it. I don't care how charming you are. You ain't selling fucking ribs at the vegetarian conference, the Jewish Vegetarian Conference, right? But if I send you to the football game and say, hey, go sell some ribs at the football game, like, you're going to crush it, right? So a lot of it is getting a qualified list of people who have a proven history of buying. You skip that step, I promise you, everything you do in cold outreach is going to be shit out of luck. Second thing I do, even before I message anybody, I spend a couple hours doing a deep dive research on what problems are they trying to solve? What are they stuck on? What are they bitching about? What do they complain about, right? They can't always tell you what they want, but they can always tell you what they don't want, just so you know. Like Henry Ford said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse and buggy, right? But they can tell you what's wrong with horses. He shits everywhere. It costs a lot of money. It's slow. I got to store him somewhere. I got to feed him. He gets sick. I need a vet, right? They can tell you all the problems with horses. And so I start with that. Okay, I haven't sent a message yet. I got a list of qualified people and I've researched their problems. I have not sent one single message, okay? Next thing I do is you got to get direct contact of the people. Like, I'm not against you sending through the contact form, but most businesses that are established have like receptionist, somebody, a gatekeeper who's going to read that email, and they're probably just going to go delete, delete, delete. That's all that's going to happen. It's sad, but like, that's how it goes. Like, you're not even going to get in front of the decision maker. So the next thing I figure out is, what's the best way to get in front of the decision maker? Can I get their private email? Can I find them on LinkedIn? Again, ChatGPT Deep Research can do that for you. Get me these motherfuckers' email. Go get me their LinkedIn. Go find their Instagram. Go find their private Facebook profile, et cetera, right? And I prefer, by the way, to friend those people on social and then put hand raisers in front of them. It just changes the power dynamic if they think they found you. Even though like they confirm your friendship, they'll think they stumbled on your post through the magic of the algorithm, and they'll go, oh. And by the way, you can, like in Facebook, for example, you can actually pick and choose. I don't know if you guys ever play with this, but you go, there's a drop down of who sees this post. You can actually like make a list of like, say, roofers, and go, just show this post only to the roofers that are friends with me. And they'll go, oh my God, I discovered your post. So I like doing it that way. You can do cold outreach if you want. I'm not stopping you from doing it. The other thing I like doing the hand raisers for is it's one to many, right? Like I can actually get 27 of them. And by the way, when I used to speak on stage, like I would go to like a lawyer conference, speak on stage, there'd be, 400 lawyers in the room, and you walk off stage and 5 or 10 of them would be waiting to work with you. Think about how much work it would be individually to try and message 400 people versus let's just talk to the 5 or 10 who clearly say I'm interested, right? Like that's the other function of a hand raiser is you don't talk to 390 people that were never going to buy your shit anyway, right? So I'm a big fan of doing it that way. And don't skip the basic steps. Make sure you got a known buyer. Make sure that you know what they actually want. And by the way, a lot of writing messages, just so you know, good effective messaging is parroting, not writing. So I mean, like, literally say their shit word for word. I'll give you an example of this. When I was doing the research on attorneys, one of the things they said is the hardest part by far, like, this was an actual quote from a guy that got like 70 upvotes. Somebody said, what's the hardest part about being a lawyer? And the guy said, the hardest part by far about being a lawyer are the clients. I don't mean the good clients who listen to you as the learned analysis of a professional. I mean the clients who are in this on principle, or just want to make somebody else hurt, or they think they know the law better than you, right? So if I just go to them and say, I'll get you more clients, and they don't even like most of the clients they got because they're a pain in the ass and they don't listen to them. So there's a huge difference between me saying, hey, I'll get you more clients, and I'll get you more of the clients who listen to you as the learned analysis of a professional, and not just the people who are in this on principle and want to make you hurt or think they know the law better than you, right? Sounds like a small detail, but it's not to them, right? It's like, and you can only know that by doing the research. So don't skip the research when you're doing outreach. Having said that, I would tell you just keep going. I don't do a lot of like mass cold outreach the way people do these days. I prefer to get my stuff in other people's audiences and then bring people to me, just like speaking on stage, have 10 people wait for me at the back of stage. That's how I do it. But having said that, if you're going to do it at scale, you're going to need some servers and some warming up and all that shit. I'm not the best person to ask for that, but if you want, I can connect you guys with people who do. All right, let me catch up on the chat. Paul says, is it harder to go into the medical niche because you need the HIPAA compliant? And I'm going to handle their PHI and GHL automation. I actually don't know what PHI is, but I'm assuming that's like kind of their software of choice in the industry. But every niche has pros and cons. So I'll tell you, I've worked 10 years in the medical industries. I'll tell you, actually, HIPAA compliance is less of an issue. All you got to do is like just ensure them everything I do is HIPAA compliant, and that's it. Like they don't worry so much about all the details. And mostly you just can't like advertise saying, hey, like retargeting, hey, we know you got warts on your anus or whatever, right? Like you can't run ads like that. You just got to say, hey, we help people with warts on their anus. It's like, it's a slight switch in wording. But if you say, we do this thing, that's different than saying, do you have this medical problem? That's like basically all you got to do as an advertiser to stay HIPAA compliant. Secondly, pros of the medical niche. I'll tell you the biggest pro. They got money to pay you, and they very rarely miss payments. I can actually remember being in a mastermind of two with my homeboy, Dan Crystal. When we first started, he was the only other guy I knew running an SEO agency. We shared all our intel with each other, what was working, what didn't. And I remember one of the things is he constantly had accounts receivable. Hey, this guy hasn't paid me in 2 months. Should I cut him off? Should I keep going? How do I like do that? I never had doctors missing payments. Like they had a lot of other issues, but they didn't miss payments. I'll tell you the flip side of that, though. My clients were way bigger assholes than his. Just so you know, like doctors, man, they got some big fucking egos. Lawyers too. I've worked in some like giant ego industries where they're always the smartest person in the room and they fucking know it. And they talk down to a lot of people, and it can be difficult at times, right? Like I can remember like more than a few times building a website for a doctor, sending them 17 emails and saying, hey, dude, I need your headshots. Like I can't build the About Us page if I don't have professional pictures of you. Can you get somebody in the office to send them to me? And then you get a nasty email like a month later going, what the fuck is the holdup on the goddamn About Us page? Like, you guys said this website would be finished. And it's like, here, please see kindly, Dr. Dickhead, all the 17 emails where I've been asking you for that fucking thing. You're the holdup, motherfucker. So you get a lot more assholeness. If you can handle that, though, dude, like, if you can just handle that, not every doctor's an asshole, just, you know, like, I actually met some really kind souls in there too. But I'm just saying the number of like those people that are assholes is way higher than the general public, just, you know. So if you can deal with that, and also medical industries, they tend to move slower. So they're harder to get to sign up as clients in the first place, but they also cancel slower because they just move slower in general. Like if you actually get to know them, what a lot of doctors do in their evening is just paperwork, just insurance forms and shit like that. They're just catching up on paperwork, which is why they're so slow to move on shit. But so you have to get better at follow-up in those industries. But like there's pros and cons of every niche, just, you know, like trades, for example, are easier to sign up and they cancel faster too because they're easier to reach and they're also easier to go. Congrats on the 10K subs, Frankie. Appreciate that. I appreciate you. You know, like for real, for just so you guys know, this shit is like therapy for me because I had first 10 years of doing this. I had only one other guy, Dan, as I mentioned, that I could talk to about this. And it was mostly like I felt very alone. I couldn't talk to my friends and family. Even my girlfriend, who's like around me all the time, she would ask really kind of dumb elementary questions, even though like she was really sweet and supportive. And so I just like, you would go through shit and I had nobody to talk to about this. So the fact that we get to jam on this is like, to me, super exciting. So I'm like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each and every last one of you, even the trolls. Just so you guys know, if you guys are just here to troll me, throw tomatoes and boo, I still appreciate you. You're only bumping my algorithm stats. Shane says, how do I partner with other ad agencies so I can set up GHL AI agents to help their clients not waste the lead by setting up a voice agent once the lead fills up the form? Well, that's one of those things I would lead in with the problem. Okay, just so you know, when you want to go from I don't know you to partner, there's basically like 3 stages you go through. And what screws a lot of people up is they try and jump to the 3rd stage, which is where we all want to get to, which is marriage. So like, hey, ad agency, send me all your clients and I'll patch all the leaks for them. That's where you want to finish, marriage. Send me everybody. I'll do this for everybody. I'll give you a bulk rate. Like, I'll be your partner in crime. Make this shit awesome for you. That's where you're going to finish, but you can't start there. Just like the same way you couldn't walk up to a strange girl on the street and be like, hey, beautiful, I want to marry you. And I want to have my babies with you. And we're going to go to Disneyland every year. And you're going to meet my parents. And we're going to eat apple pie every Friday evening. And it's Taco Tuesday because tacos are fucking awesome. Like, that's not a good opener, even though that actually might be a very good marriage conversation, right? So the way I usually lead into it with coffee date, so you connect with them, and I just try and be helpful to them. I know that sounds ridiculously simple, but like try and help them with their shit. Like, for example, one thing I might do is like, hey, I can help you plug your leaks. I'll totally do this for free. All I want is like down the road, I want to be able to discuss the idea with potentially doing this for your clients. And then here's the thing, okay? When you want to transition this from a free to like a paid, the big fear they have is that you're going to make them look stupid. You're going to make them look stupid and burn their reputation. Like I actually am dealing with this a little bit right now. I brought in a guy for a partnership. He's not doing the shit he said he was going to do. He's like, he's got sick kids and I understand, but like, you know, like answer an email in 2 weeks. And now I got kind of egg on my face with my partner because I brought in this guy who's going to help us up level. And now he's not doing his fucking shit. So here's me going, what the fuck? Right. So that's their big fear. So the way you cross over is you say, let me just do this for one person. Let me just do this for, hey, I got this idea. We could do this thing together. Let me just show you it works. Let me do it for one person. And then it's less of a risk to their reputation. If you fuck it up, you fuck up one relationship, not hundreds of them. Right. And what happens is once the one works, once they see it and it's working and they're happy, then they want you to do it for all of them without much force because now they trust you. It's like a seeing is believing. So the worst thing you can do is walk up and say, hey, I want to be your partner. Best thing you can do is say, hey, I was thinking about some cool ideas to help you and I'd love to build this thing for you. And the reason I'm doing it is if you like it, could we maybe do it for one of your clients? And I can help you kind of tag team this. It'll work, you know, like that's it. Like, but they're real relationships, just so you know. So like people trying to like do this like a partnership, like a perfect message, like a pickup line. And it's more like the people you're really friends with, like you comment on their shit. Like I think some of my partners, like some of my most talked about things to them are like cute kids. What the fuck were you guys doing in Orlando? Like shit like that, right? Like that's the kind of messaging. It's a partnership. I friend them on all the social media. We talk back and forth. We shoot the shit. Only about 10% of it is business, just so you know. So like think about them as like real relationships because they are. You know, you comment on their stuff. You share stuff about them. Hey, you send them a funny video. This made me think of you. Like that's how you actually build partnerships in the real world. Jason, what's up, dude? Isn't it funny how you remember this and can roll out of bed at 2 a.m. and recite the pain point years later? Yeah, totally. I did my research on that shit. Back in those days, by the way, we didn't have AI. Us old farts had to do it manually. I was like reading through Quora and Reddit and books on Amazon and the reviews on Amazon. But when you see something that gets upvoted by your target audience and they all say, yes, this is my pain, it's like it's on point. Frankie, what would a Loom or Handraiser look like if I wanted to target coaches or course creators? Handraiser is kind of the same, and there's a format for it. So there's 4 components to a Handraiser, just so you know. And if you give me more details about what you intend to sell to them, I can give you more details. But the point of a Handraiser, like the analogy I always use is like, if I say to you, "Hey, my neighbor Jenny's interested in you. Would you like me to like introduce you guys?" If you're not interested in Jenny, you like say, "Oh, she's a smoker, or she's ugly, or she farts a lot, whatever," right? Like, I don't know. Are there girls that rip it a lot? I don't know. I think they're high pitched, like whale sounds, from far, or like dolphin shrieks. I don't know. Anyways, I digress. If you say yes, there's a very good chance I can get you guys together. If you say, nah, she ain't my type, then I don't need to build a funnel. I don't need to build a website. I don't need to automate it. I don't need to send any cold outreach messages. If you won't raise your hand for it, you ain't going to buy it down the road. Flip side of that is, if you say yes, tell me more about her, in order to actually get you together. In other words, in order to move towards the sale, now it's only a matter of filling in those details to move forward, right? Like, for you guys to actually get together, we got to know when, how do I dress, what do I wear, what time, where do I park? Like, there's a lot of details that need to be filled in. So the fundamentals of a Handraiser, there are 4 pieces to them. You can use one or all of them. Sometimes I use all of them. Sometimes I use just one piece. So one is what I call their symptom. And the reason I say symptom and not problem is because most people, if they have a problem for a long period of time, they actually don't understand why they have those deeper level problem. I'll give you an example of this. We got Chris that I do consulting with. He's, I don't know, he's doing like 3 million a year. And they help car detailers. And one of the big problems is people call their shop all day long and say, how much is it for this? How much is it for that? And then they say, all right, I got to talk to my brother, cousin, uncle, former roommate. Okay. That is what is known as a tire kicker. Okay. In their world. The reason that happens is because they don't put their pricing and packages on their website. Right. So the real problem is they're not upfront about pricing and packaging. So all the tire kickers have to call them to find out. And what he does is he makes some websites and puts their pricing and package, and now they get less overall call volume. But when people call, they say, hey, I saw your $1,200 window tinting package, or I saw your $1,500 put flames on my car. I want flames on my car. How do we get started? Did you have availability Thursday or Friday? So the symptom that Chris is saying I can eliminate from your reality is the tire kicker. Okay. And what he doesn't talk about is their real problem. Your website sucks. That's the real problem, just, because most of them don't even realize their website sucks. Right. So when I say symptom, you want to speak to what is showing up in their reality now. What is happening? Okay. Next piece of the puzzle, an outcome. And usually the simplest outcome, by the way, is what most people do is they talk about their service. I'm going to run some ads. I'm going to do a missed call text back. I'm going to do some Facebook ads. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. One of the biggest pieces of it is speaking to the type of person you can bring them. So like, if, I mentioned that lawyer a minute ago who said, I want people who listen to me as the learned analysis of professional, and not these people who, think they know the law better than me or just want to make them hurt. If I say, hey, I can bring you motor vehicle accident cases who, listen to you as the learned analysis of professional, don't think they know the law better than you, and don't just want to make somebody else hurt, right? That's an outcome. Just so you know, it's like, I'm going to bring you this type of person. So you want to play around with the outcome and the promise. And a lot of times, by the way, when they tell you the problem, they know you'll know the outcome. So like, I think Alana, she helps yoga studio owners, multi-location yoga studio owners. And often when they have multiple locations, there's always like 2 or 3 locations that are dragging ass. And so they'll say stuff like, man, my West End location is always fucking half empty on a Tuesday, right? If they tell you got a half empty location on a Tuesday, what do you think they want as an outcome? A full class on a Tuesday, right? It's pretty fucking simple, right? So often if they can articulate their symptom, they've told you the outcome they want, just kind of in reverse. Next piece of the puzzle, I call it the new and exciting way out. So as long as you sell to humans, I've heard that before. We'll never sell as much as that sounds different. I never heard that before. So new and exciting way out. So in order to know new and exciting way out, you have to know what most coaches are doing now, which, by the way, is what a lot of agencies are doing. Just cold DMing a bazillion people and hoping if you jump on enough calls and throw enough shit at the wall, like hopefully some shit will stick. without a real focus on even understanding the target market, which is like kind of, like coming from a bad place. So if you have something that's different, like for example, we have a guy who works with coaches and consultants. And one of the things he does is he gets them to download a lead magnet, get into their email list, then they drip feed emails, and the emails convert them to a call. And they show up warm to those calls because they've read, 27 of your emails. So instead of, hey, let's cold DM, how about we create a simple lead magnet and get people into your system? Also, because I mentioned this before, one of the downsides of working with those types of people is it's a low barrier of entry, and many of them are not serious. So just make sure you work with established coaches and consultants. One of the telltale signs that they're established is they have a salesperson. It's not always a telltale sign because there's like motherfuckers like me who don't sell with calls. But I'd say like 9 out of 10 times, one of the telltale signs, they have that. And also, if you ask them what's their CRM, you will get some kind of answer. And what's a CRM? Right? If they say, what's a CRM? Probably don't work with them. And then the last piece of the Handraiser is what I call timer. So if you think of every reason somebody ever buys something or says no, it falls in timer, which stands for time, identity, money, energy, reputation. Time, identity, money, energy, reputation. So those are a lot of the without. You won't have to do this time sucking thing. You won't have to, be this kind of person. Identity. I'll give you an example of an identity. A lot of people don't want to be salespeople. I didn't become a dentist to become a salesperson. There's an identity thing. Money, make or save them some money. Energy, make their life easier. Reputation, how's this going to make them look in the eyes of other people? So if I was making a Handraiser for a coach or, using the lead magnet thing, I might start with the symptom. Hey, you cold DMing a bunch of people trying to get them on calls only to get ignored and ghosted. Well, we figured out how to get pre-book calls to come to you warm so they already know what your coaching program. And instead of cold DMing people, we figured out how to do that by just giving them a lead magnet, a very valuable resource and tool that is kind of like an appetizer that brings them towards you, and then drip feeding them emails that all invite them to schedule a call. And by doing this, you don't have to spend time trying to jump on calls with people who aren't ready. You don't have to be this hardcore closer in the inbox. You'll close more deals and you'll ultimately make more money. It's easier than what you're doing because the PDF and the emails are doing the heavy lifting, and they'll see you more as a trusted resource instead of just another fucking coach spamming them in their inbox. If you'd like to learn more about it, drop a GIF here. There's a Handraiser. Okay. I just made one in real time using all 4 of them. And we don't have to use all 4, the symptom, the outcome, the new and exciting way out elements. I could just say, we got a way to get warm stuff booked on your calendar. That's just an outcome. Say, if you want to know more, drop a comment. So I sometimes use all of them. I sometimes don't. It's a little bit of art as much as it's science. So like there's no have to's in it, but play with it a little bit, because if they won't raise their hand to say, yeah, introduce me to Jenny, they won't buy it. But also, I think most people misunderstand all high ticket sales begin with curiosity. So like, I think a lot of beginners are sold this idea that people are supposed to like jump out of their chair and ninja hurl a credit card at you. I've been doing this 20 years. That has happened, but not very often. Just so you know, as a general rule, most high ticket sales begin with, tell me more about that. That's it. Curiosity. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about Jenny. Tell me more about that lead magnet thing you got. Like, that's how high ticket sales begin. And so what you're looking for as a Handraiser is indicators of interest. People saying, yeah, I want to know more about that. What was my retainer price for water restoration contractors? We did a hybrid SEO and pay-per-click, and I charged $2,800 per month. And if I'm being real with you, I'll tell you exactly how I came to the number $2,800 per month. My white label partner charged $1,400 for those things combined. So I just doubled their price. So it's like, that's easy enough for me. I'll make 50% margins and I'll double their price. That's how I came up with it. Not a good way to come up with pricing, but that's what I did. I'm just being real. Funnels, so like VSL or webinars. Yeah, okay. So I sorry I missed that when you post that, but you want to map those out. So like, what are the symptoms of them not having funnels and webinars? What outcome does a funnel or a webinar create for them? And by the way, the outcome matters for them, right? Like, what kind of coaching programs are they going to sell, close, enroll? New and exciting way out. What are they doing now? Why is your shit different? Timer. How does it save them time? Identity. right? Most of them, by the way, the easiest identity in the world, they don't want to be salespeople. Money, how are they going to make or save money? Energy, how does this make their life easier? Reputation, how are they going to look in terms of other people if they were enrolled through a VSL versus what they're doing? So that's kind of the gist of it. What's the biggest hurdle you have seen selling through Loom video or without sales meeting? I think it's the biggest barrier to sales in general is most people don't know what their target market actually wants. They don't know their real problems. They just know what they sell. And they kind of like patchwork packages. Like I just saw it in the GHL community. So like I'm wearing the shirt, by the way. I like free conference shirts. I'm not like they're getting free advertising because they gave me a free shirt. I met the owners last year and they're like, "You want a free shirt?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love free shirts." So here we are. But anyways, I saw a guy just posting in the GHL community. He was saying, "I'm going to do a free website, missed call, text back." There were a couple other things like that. And he was like, "I'm going to include all these things." But you know how many plumbers went to sleep last night and said, "Oh, I just need a website and some missed call, text back." Fucking zero, right? So you have to fundamentally relate that to the problems that are showing up. I'll give you an example of this. When you hear the problem, sometimes it creates what I call the 10-degree shift, but this is my favorite example of it. Mike from our mastermind, he runs Google ads for plumbers. And one day a plumber said to him, he said, "Mike, is there any way you could get me away from the emergency calls?" And he was like, "Why do you not want emergency calls?" And he says, "Well, for one, I get them all hours of the night. I got to go there quickly. I compete on price. And worst of all, it always involves shit, like literal shit. Some fat guy took a 400-pound floater, the toilet's clogged, they call me." He said, "Is there any way you could aim this stuff at new construction? Because I could wear a suit and tie. I don't even have to shower. I go home, I look good, and I make more money." And they're builders, so they usually have multiple jobs. Like they don't just hire me once and then never again when they don't need it. They actually, like, often they're building a whole subdivision. They need me 27 times to do every house. He's like, "Anyway, you get me those?" So he did it, right? So if Mike went in and said, like, selling the tool, "I'll run Google ads," they wouldn't care. But if he said the symptom, "Hey, are you getting covered in shit? Would you rather get new construction projects using this new and exciting Google ad system I built? It's easier, faster. You don't have to get covered in shit unless you really enjoy it. You'll make more money per job. You can go home without showering, and builders will see you as the go-to resource. Would you be interested in that?" That's a pretty fucking effective hand raiser for that thing. So that's why I say, like, like, test that shit before you build it. But like a lot of people patchwork packages. So the reason they can't sell with video is because they don't know what the person wants on the other side of the video. And so they're just patchworking fucking shit that, like, "Hey, I'll make you a website. I'll do GHL missed call text back." But if you like, by the way, this is a useful thing to know, is that most businesses do not like all of their clients, customers, patients, whatever that they're getting now. And so to assume that most agencies do that, like, "I'll put up a website and I'll advertise and I'll get you more people." It's not more that they want. It's like the specific who. And so that, like, just requires a little bit of positioning. If a roofer said, "I want commercial roofing," what do you think their website should say? "Hey, we do commercial roofing." What do you think the imagery should say? "Hey, pictures of commercial roofs," right? Like, that's how you get it. So if you nail that, you'll just be more on point with it. Sean, "Hey, Frankie, you always say to pick a niche and sell an outcome, but there's so many people selling GHL SaaS, killing it with no specific niche, and their outcome is more business. Thoughts?" Don't get me wrong, okay? You can be successful, no niche, selling the tools. I get to see, just so you know, like, inside of like thousands and thousands of agencies and SaaS owners. I get to see like they all bring me my problems. They all fill up my email. My phone's dinging with fucking people asking me questions every day. Like, if I just look at on my WhatsApp app, I got 4 new questions since this thing started. My inbox, I got 3 more in my inbox, 4 more, 5 more. My Facebook Messenger, I got 2 more there. Nothing in the group. Oh, okay, never mind. Take that. 2 more in the group, right? So, like, every day, I know what's working and what's not. And I'll give you an example. I say pick a niche versus be a generalist. Does that mean I've never met a generalist who's successful? Of course not. I know tons of generalists doing very fucking well. But the number of people I know succeeding in a niche with a simple deliverable is 20x the number of generalists. So the reason I say that to you is not like you can't be successful. Like I'm trying to like 20x your odds of getting there. And also like you can charge more money. There's 3 tiers of pricing. Just, there's what I call Jerry Generalist. I'll do anything for anybody. Like we make websites, we make keyword research, pay-per-click, AI automations, you name it, we do it. Those guys are always the lowest paid and they have the hardest time getting clients. Specialist is like, we only do this one thing. They often charge 5x for the same damn thing. Like when I was a generalist, when I was Jerry Generalist instead of Steven Specialist, I'd sell websites, $500 to $1,000, and I got nothing but pushback. I could sell it, but it was through brute force. When I was like, hey, we only make plastic surgery websites, they'd pay me like 10 grand, no pushback. I didn't get any better at WordPress. Just, I didn't get any WordPress. I just got better at positioning. And then there's the third one, which I call Cedric Celebrity Authority, which is just Steven. They're still a specialist, but they've used the power of media to engineer a reputation that precedes them. By the way, one of the ways you can engineer a reputation before you use a book. There's a reason I got 2 of them. That makes me author, not random dipshit shooting his mouth off on the internet, even though those are both true. So it's not like you can't be successful with it. Just like, let me be clear. Like there's lots of ways to be right about this. There's more. Like I always hate when gurus are like, you must follow the Frankie Finn system, deviate from it, and you'll be a fucking loser for life. Do it how we say to do it. There's more than one way to be right about this. I'm just trying to give you the best odds. So yeah, you can be. And also a lot of these guys, the reason why they're Jerry Generalists is because they live in a US city and they go to network meetings and they shake people face to face. And the barrier to sale is always trust. And if you can meet somebody face to face, that barrier is greatly reduced because they can see you, touch you, shake your hand, ask you questions. So a lot of them are getting that business that way. But because, BNI meetings are a mixed bag and Chamber of Commerce meetings are a mixed bag and local meetup groups are a mixed bag, you can't really specialize because you're going to get one plumber and one dentist and one whatever. And you can discuss what they need. But I'll tell you, generalist agencies are way harder to scale too. That's the other piece why I'm so big on pick a niche. Because like in my first agency, for example, anybody who said, can you do blank? And I reasonably thought I could, and their credit card worked. I said, damn right we can. Can you guys edit videos? For sure. Now I'm like watching YouTube videos. How do you edit videos? I'm trying to hire some guy on Freelancer or Odesk. What's it called today? What's it called? Upwork. Sorry. Like the modern day Upwork. Used to be called other shit. So I'm like last minute trying to hire people. And then they say, hey, do you know how to do Google ads? Of course. Now I'm trying to figure out like, what do you do in a Google ad and, all those things. And my second agency, we only did Facebook ads for personal injury lawyers. And I would find one ad that worked for one client and I'd roll it out to everybody. Like everybody got the same fucking ad. Obviously like their picture and their phone number, but it was the same basic ad. Like once we found it, and the difference is when you're doing the generalist shit, you're constantly reinventing the wheel with every client. When you do the specialist, the niche, the whole point of being a specialist in niche is you get to reuse the same damn thing you built for the last guy over and over and over and over. It's a do once, get paid 1,000 times, right? As Sam Carlson would say. So just to be clear, you can be successful as a generalist. I'm trying to 20x your odds of getting there. Also, a lot of people have bad messaging because it's not focused at a niche. Is the shoe store method good because they know many potential clients and I ask them to send 1 or 2 clients my way and then I can just ask them again and again to send me more and more clients? More or less, Paul. So I wrote about this in my second book. So I'll give you guys a little bit of the sort of theory behind it, and then I'll give you some practical examples. Okay. So I read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure some of you guys have read that book. And he talks about if you want to be rich, you got to own shit and you want your money to come from assets. And I immediately thought of there's this old Italian guy that I used to know back home. He's dead now, but his name was Franco. And Franco was rich because he owned 7 apartment buildings and a golf course. And every month, somebody paid him rent and somebody paid him access to his golf course. And he just kept getting wealthier. And the buildings themselves and the land and the real estate went up in value. And he just got richer and richer as time got on. And people just continually paid him access to his stuff. Well, I read that and I was like, it was a very eye-opening thing. And I was like, man, I need to own me some assets. But I was like, I'm a digital guy. I don't know how to I don't do land. I don't do stocks. I do now, but I didn't then. And I came to the realization that this was like probably like 5 years ago, that everything he had been talking about had a digital equivalent. Okay. So let me give you an example of what I believe the most powerful digital asset is. I call it distribution. It's where an audience is. But let's say for free, I could give you the option to either A, advertise on your local cable network at 2 in the morning, you get a free commercial, or I'll give you a free commercial during the Super Bowl. Okay, obviously it's a Super Bowl, but why would you pick the Super Bowl? Why would you pick the Super Bowl and not the fucking 2 a.m. cable spot? Well, it's because there's going to be 150, 200 fucking million people watching, right? So, like, clearly that many eyeballs is worth more money than a few. You might get a few on the local cable network, somebody who can't sleep. In fact, I probably run affiliate offers like, can your dumbass not fall asleep? It would work on me anyway, because I'm a shitty sleeper. So what I came to realize is that most people are trying to grow an agency through brute force. And I'll give you an example. Like, this is a story I beat to death, but like what a shoe store, or like sometimes I call it a grocery store, really is. But I was, 13 years old. I got a job selling chocolate bars door to door, cash only. That was the reason I took it, because I couldn't legally get hired for anything else. And, cash under the table was king. And 98% of the days we did one-to-one outreach in the real world, knock on doors. Hey, would you like to buy some chocolate? Would you like to buy some chocolate? Would you like to buy some chocolate? And we just repeat that 5-8 hours a day till you run out of chocolate bars. That was like my typical day. Once a month, our manager would say, hey, we're going to go to the grocery store today. So I remember there was one near my house. It was called Zehrs. It's a big chain in Canada. And he'd ask the guy, he'd ask the manager of Zehrs, he'd say, hey, we're selling chocolate bars for the blind. Is it okay if we stand outside the doors and sell them? The guy'd be like, yeah, that's cool. And mind you, when I was like 13 years old, there were no credit cards and debit cards. Like, people went to the grocery store with cash and they went hungry. And the whole point of getting in the car and going there was to spend money. We'd be sold out of chocolate in 15 fucking minutes. Every kid. Didn't matter if they were good. Didn't matter if they had a good sales pitch. Like, it didn't matter. They were just sold out because they got in front of the audience. And so the whole point of a shoe store is to have people believe that they found you at the grocery store. And I came to realize every niche has this. Every niche has a podcast. Every niche has somebody who wrote a book. Every niche has a coaching program. Every niche has a mastermind. Every niche has 7 conferences that are simultaneously going on. Every niche has, live events. Every niche has somebody who makes the software. And so when you simply get yourself into there, like I say, like the business in any industry is like a flow. It happens with or without you. People are buying food at the grocery store, whether you're part of it or not. The only question is, can you sort of infiltrate it? And then it's like putting your sail in a wind that's already there and you catch it. So for me, what happened is when I started my second agency, just so you guys know, I went through about a 5-6 month stretch where many of you guys have been in this, by the way, or maybe even are in it now. I call it the question your sanity phase. So I made exactly $0 and 0 sales for like 5-6 months. And I actually had conversations and I was putting in the work and I was jumping on calls and nobody was buying my shit. And it was a really difficult mental, emotional period. Like, you're constantly thinking of throwing in the towel. And it was even worse for me because I had like built a $1 million agency, burned it to the ground, taken 6 months off, and then restarted. And I just thought it would be easier. I swear to God, I just thought it would be easier. And then I was like, it occurred to me, I didn't really know how to sell. I just had white label partners that had sold my stuff. And then I kind of felt like a lost little puppy that couldn't make it work. And what ended up happening is I had a very helpful call with a guy who owned an industry association, which is a shoe store of type, somebody who has an audience. They had a conference, they had a newsletter, they had a YouTube channel, they published a book. Like, there were a lot of the boxes there to be checked. And he asked me if I would come help him with some things. And I did. And eventually that said, hey, can you come speak on my stage? And that conference led to another one. And I went from, I literally didn't know any attorneys like 6 months before, to all of a sudden, like within 6 months, I still to this day know like 30% of the top personal injury guys in the world. We've met face to face. We've shaken hands at those conferences. And what would happen for me is I'd speak on stage and I'd walk my ass off to the back of the room and there'd be like 10 people waiting to work with me. And like, it would blow my mind that you could like Our stuff was $2,500 a month in those days. Like we could add $25,000 a month in recurring in 1 fucking hour. I was like, bam, like that, ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? And in the beginning, I thought it was because like, well, it's clearly because I'm a charming, dynamic, handsome speaker. Right. And then I talked to the other speakers and they're like, oh yeah, I signed 10 clients too. What about you? Oh, I got 8. What about you? I got 15. And I realized it had more to do with we were all standing in front of the buying audience. We were all standing in front of the grocery store. Think about it. Like, how do I know those people are buyers? Are the tickets free? Not last I checked. Is the plane ride free? And a lot of them would bring staff, like the hotels and all that, right? Like in the meals and all. They're invested like $5,000 to $10,000 before they even get there, and then they would spend more money when they get there. They came with the purpose of up leveling their law firm and are willing to invest in it, demonstrated by their behavior. So the magic of a shoe store is like you get into the buyer's flow, and yes, those people can and will recommend you as per your original question, but it's deeper than that. Even if they don't recommend you, if I go speak on their stage and they never once recommend me and I come off, there's going to be people waiting to work with me, whether or not they endorse me or not. Endorsement is extra powerful and a good reason to do it, but it's not just about endorsement. It's about like, this is where 80% of the buyer flow in the industry is. Let's put our sail in the wind that's already there and catch it, and it'll catch you. And I went from, by the way, first 6 months, 0 clients to the next 12 months, we signed 100, and I could barely keep up with the shit. Barely keep up. Like broke all my fulfillment systems, hiring, blah, blah, blah. I actually remember at once having to publicly apologize to a lawyer that I totally just ignored him for a month. Not on purpose, by the way. This is how fast we grew from getting in shoe stores, by the way. I had my number one sales guy. He was a fucking shark. He closed a couple of people. And then the last guy he closed, he quit the next day and said, hey, I love working with you, Frankie, but I want to go try and make it on my own as an entrepreneur. So I got to give you my 2 weeks notice. And then the new client was emailing the sales guy saying, how do we get started? How would he get started? Nobody was checking the email because it was just a company email. And then a month later, he chewed me out in public, said, hey, Frankie Finn fucked me over and his company didn't do what they said they're going to do. And I was like, motherfucker, you're not even a client. When you have 100 client, by the way, plus you don't know them all by name. Like you actually know only a small percentage of your clients. And so I was like, I'll prove it to you, dude. You're fucking lying. And I went through all my receipts and I was like, look, your name's not on there. And then I went, holy shit, this guy paid me. And then I had to investigate what the fuck happened. How did this guy pay us? And then I had to write like this big, long public apology. I'm not saying you want to have those kind of problems, but that's the power of getting into shoe stores. I had so many clients that I didn't even know half the payments, who they were coming from. Charleen, what's up, girl? How would you structure paid media pricing so it makes sense economically for both sides? I was actually going to get to that question just in a second, but since you're here and we're live, let's do it. Okay. So the hardest place to do pricing from, as a general rule, is a generalist, where each client is different and each time their needs are different. People ask me all the time, how much should I price this for? How much should I price that for? And the truth is, I don't fucking know. If you're reinventing the wheel, the best way to price stuff, like partly like why I've been harping on this pick a niche thing, is because the more times you see the same solution work for a client, the easier you can like charge more money for them, look them straight in the face and say like, that's a fucking deal, right? Like for us, you know, our Facebook ads were like $2,500 a month, right? Like when I was talking about my second agency. And I knew like once we got going that they would get like 100-ish leads that, you know, 1 out of 4 of them they could get a consultation with, and they'd close like 75% of the consultations because in this industry it's free. So they'd be signing like 10, 20 clients a month. I'm like, 10, 20 clients a month for $2,500. You're coming out way ahead every time. So like $2,500 is a fucking steal, homie. By the way, the first time I sold it, I didn't have that level of confidence and certainty. It took 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see the same solution again and again. So the worst place to be in pricing is like, this guy needs Google ads. That guy needs Facebook ads. The truth is you'll never know how to price it if you're reinventing the wheel. And I haven't met anybody who's figured that out, who knows like the exact amount. The other thing you can test is how much the market will bear. I'll say as a general rule, like to give you just some general guidelines. It depends, like, Facebook, Google ads, etc. Because I know you mentioned in your question in the community that you want to be able to scale your pricing, meaning if those accounts get bigger, your paycheck gets bigger too. As a general rule, the most common structure, and I'm not saying this is the best structure, but the most common structure that accomplishes that is a retainer that is somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 per month plus 10% of ad spend. The magic behind that, and I'm not saying like that's how I would price it personally. I'll give you those thoughts in a second. How I would price or the 1 to 3,000, why that matters is because that is still cheaper than them hiring an employee. If you start getting in the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month, not that you can't charge that, but now you're starting to compete against, maybe I should just keep this in-house and hire my own full-time person, right? 1 to 3,000, they're not going to get a full-time employee for $2,500 a month. They're just not. And then the 10% allows you to grow and scale as the ad spend, and you just position it as a win-win. So that's the most common way, just so you know. What I like to do, and this is like balls off the wall. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but I only do partnerships these days. And I only take people that I'm like 99.9% sure that this is going to work. And some of the best people that I've done paid media for, they've sold the fuck out of their shit organic. People love them. They have mountains of content. They got pages of testimonial. They got happy clients. They literally have everything except paid media. And so I just go, hey, I'll build a funnel and I'll take this and I will take a percentage of every sale. You don't got to pay me shit. And I just ask, give me a little bit of a test budget to figure it out. And you can sometimes make between like $10,000 and $100,000 per month with if you know how to pick those clients. That's how I like to price my shit. I'm not saying you have to do that, but what you're looking for basically is not if you're going to do those partnerships, this is a very, 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 very important detail. Their shit is working already. You are not trying to figure that out with media. You're just adding fuel to it. That's a very, very important detail. I'll give you another example of this. We got a guy in the mastermind. He does it for coaches and consultants, and they're running Facebook ads, funnels, and crushing it. And he says, why don't we take your working funnel and make it a YouTube funnel, and I can get you a whole new source of traffic for your working offer. Why that's key, okay? Their ads are working. Their offers are working. Their sales guy is converting. So he ain't guessing. This is not, hey, give me some money and hopefully we can scale this thing and make it work. This is, why don't we take what's working and move it over there? I have a name for that. I call it new media. That's essentially what we're doing. It's like, you have everything else except this media piece. Let me add it. And by the way, there's tons of like people that are in your market that fit that description where they're making tons of sales. And if they just added paid media, it would like scale up. What I don't like, by the way, is if their sales are dependent on referrals, or they don't have, worst case at all. It's like, it's not working. That's the worst case, to come in as a media buyer and say, I'll be your partner and I'll split the sales. Like, there ain't going to be any sales to split, because they'll usually pull the plug before you figure it out with paid media. Unless they got some sort of VC money backing them. But those are some guidelines. And just so you know, those are only guidelines. The other variable that affects pricing more than anything else, it took me a lot of years to realize this, because everybody says like, be confident in your price and be certain. I even had some mentors that would say like, write down all the reasons your price is worth it, say them in the mirror. And I'd be doing these affirmations like, you're worth it, Frankie Finn. And actually the biggest variable that affects pricing is the size of the client you do it for. So I'm doing Google ads. And let's say I'm doing it, let me just pick a niche, roofing. Okay, I'm doing Google ads in the roofing industry. If I have a single solo roofer, he is the business. He answers the phone. He puts on the shingles. He might spend $1,000, $2,000 a month, and I'll be lucky to charge him anywhere between $500 to $1,500. If I got a roofer who's got $1 million business and has 3 trucks on the road and has 3 crews, he's probably going to spend like $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Now I can charge him 2 to 3 without batting an eye. If we got a guy who's got 40 crews and he's operating in 3 states and he needs to keep 40 crews of guys busy and he's spending, $150,000 a month, I can charge him $10K a month without batting an eye. I didn't get any better at Google ads. I just up-leveled the type of client. So the biggest variable that actually affects pricing is them, not you. So that's the other thing, is you like up your standards. I kind of compare it to like dating. If you're dating a crackhead, Like, you're not going to get into the country club. But if you're like dating, the famous actress, they're kind of going to welcome you in there. So you want to think about like kind of dating like prom queen kind of clients or prom king kind of clients, and not just. So that's the other variable is like, I always say, like, you want to become a detective, or for who are the bigger people with all the money to spend, and how can you infiltrate those people? This is way more strategic than most people think about it. Most people just go, I want to work with dentists and I'm going to do some missed call text back, and they start blasting. They don't ask themselves, like, who are the dentists with all the fucking money? They're spending all the money on ads. What are their needs? What do they want? How do I get in front of those people? How do I distribute my stuff in front of them? But the more you can be strategic like that, the more you're going to get much higher paying clients as a general rule. Hope that's helpful. Sorry, I'm way behind on the chat here. Let me catch up on the chat here. So would you recommend using GHL or a white label partner? Should I pitch the other services that GHL offers, or try to focus on a specific offer like ads? I don't think ads, GHL, or white label partners are offers. I think those are service and deliverables. Like the distinction is a restaurant is going to feed you, hopefully. So their service is food. But an offer is like, we got 2-for-1 chicken wings for $16.99. Okay, so don't confuse those two. I'm going to do white label. I'm going to do ads. Those are not fucking offers. Offers to me are more akin to a promise. I'll give you an example, okay? Water damage restoration. My service was SEO and Google ads, okay? What they told me they wanted is a certain type of residential flood job. And I talked to my white label partner and said, easily we can get 100 of those a month as long as they're in a city of X size. And so our promise came, we can get you 50 to 100 category 3 residential flood jobs every month. The promise is not, we'll do SEO and ads. The promise is who we're going to bring you from those ads, right? So I say that because if you mix that up, you'll get stuck in, like, I see so many broke people in our space, and the number one thing is they get hung up in, should I sell this? Should I sell that? Should I sell this? Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe I'll do missed call text back. Maybe I'll do that. And it's better to pick a niche and research their problems and then bring in tools that help them solve that. So like in the water damage restoration, they told me we don't even get paid on most of the jobs we get because the insurance company fucks us around. So my next question was, are there jobs you get paid on? Yeah, these ones. These are the biggest ones we get paid on. Cool. I'm going to make a service that brings you those ones. That's the appeal of it. Not missed call text back, and we got a white label partner. But, as far as fulfillment, pick the one that suits you. There's no have-tos, man. Like, entrepreneurship is the opposite of a job. A job is do this at lunch, see you in the meeting. Entrepreneurship is, what do I want to do? Who do I want to help? What tools and resources do I have that can serve them? The main niche people pick is contractors, which can be plumbers, HVAC, et cetera. And they say, we do SEO, missed call text back, and are getting 20 to 30K a month. Again, I would be willing to bet there's a face-to-face handshake element of that long discussion, and not just like, hey, we cold DM you. We do a little bit of everything. And there's probably some foot in the door offer to that, Sean. I'm not saying that can't be done, but just so you know, like, I know people who charge 100K a month for SEO local and get it. And they're niche down, they're specialized, they're famous in their niche, that kind of thing. TJ says, I sent my first Loom last Friday. It was a job posted on Indeed. I put an application in. He called instantly. Then I sent him a Loom. It was a 3-partner, 15 minutes. We were supposed to have a follow-up call today, but he canceled. But I gave him my pitch and pricing. Hopefully he talks it over with his partner, and I can choose. I can close async. By the way, I did a video on this because especially the first time you do a Loom, like it'll get you most of the way to the sale, but most of the way to the sale is not a sale. And I got a little video that does follow up. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you. Give me one sec here. Let's see if we can find this baby. I see my picture. I don't like seeing my picture. Are you guys the same way? Do you guys not like seeing your picture? I don't like seeing my picture. Anyways. So I call this nudging. It's like it doesn't work if somebody doesn't know who you are and doesn't know what you do and they never heard of you. But when they're like seriously considering it, it helps to know how to nudge them forward. So I just posted a link to that. You'll want to save that video. Just I've had people just follow that video and do it. It works. But that's how you nudge people. What should I do to close him? Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't even see your question, but yeah, that's what you should do. But I'll give you the short version of it is, so remember I said that like Handraiser, hey, are you interested in Jenny? Okay. Let me tell you more about her. Well, pushing deals forwards that are sort of like on the fence, like there, by the way, more deals are won and lost in this sort of like limbo rather, sorry, on the fence, almost bought, but you know, haven't closed. They know your pricing and that. What most people do is what I don't recommend doing, which is they go, have you seen my thing? Did you see my message? Did you want to get started? Like kind of like needy X kind of shit. And what I found works best is to go, I was thinking about, and then make sure you remind them of what they want. So there's a reason they posted on Indeed. They're looking for this kind of person. I was thinking about how you want this kind of person. And then I just go deeper on one aspect of my plan. So like if I was to do SEO for a client, my plan would include, I'm going to target specific keywords. It would include, I'm going to make some changes to your website. It would include, I'm going to update your GBP. It would include, I'm going to publish some content. It would include, I'm going to do some offsite stuff like some links. So I might just start and say, hey, dude, I was thinking about how you want to get residential category 3 flood jobs. And I was like, man, these 10 keywords are balling, motherfucker. I think these are going to be the best keywords that we're going to find. So anyways, looking forward to working together. If you don't jump, say, hey, I was thinking about how you want to get residential category 3 flood jobs and want to make these changes to your website. Like your title tags all misaligned with who we're trying to get. And the images don't fully make sense for who we're trying to get. So I'm going to change this and that to be more in alignment with the kind of person we're trying to get. Hey, I was thinking about how you want residential category 3 flood jobs. Checking out your GBP. We need some really bitching images of your before and afters. I know you guys are uploading your before and afters over there and in Xactimate. I want to get some of those so I can use them as marketing pieces for your GBP so I can show off your work so potential clients can see you're the real deal. That's it. That's how you nudge people forward, by the way. Before you automate the Loom video, do you test the Loom on warm-up leads that saw your content from a shoe store, but not the hot leads from the referral from the shoe store? I have a simple formula. If people are saying yes to the offer, I just send them the same video over and over. If it's new and they haven't said yes, then I keep making it custom every time. And so I just show them what I would do specifically for them. And then that's kind of it. So that is me testing it, is like one-to-one personalizing it. So usually for me, like I've been doing this a while, obviously, but like the first 5 or 10 typically get personalized. And then when they start going, yeah, let's do it. Then I'm like, here's the one size fits all video because I know what they want. But a lot of this is figuring out what they want. Charleen says, I'm infiltrated with VCs. Thank you, Frankie. There you go. VC money. That's a tricky one, just so you know, because a lot of times they got more money than brains, like a lot of those businesses are long shots and some of them are going to be huge with or without you. But you're going to have to temper expectations a lot then, because like you're working with unproven offers a lot. So you got to be like, hey, the first month is just trying shit and getting data. And then we'll start to steer the ship after we've tried some shit. Like that's a hard expectation to set, but it's a reality of working with unproven offers that are VC funded. And the biggest thing you can do to help them, by the way, is package their shit into offers, because most of them will just say, we got the new wearable, and not, hey, for $19.99, this new wearable will save grandma and ABC, right? Like you want to turn it into a promise and something specific. Hey, Frankie, is something like an AI website chat agent reasonable idea for a white label partnership with web design agencies? I think so. I was speaking to Josh this morning about this. I think like the future of what doesn't exist today, but is going to exist a lot tomorrow, are automation AI agencies, or white label AI automation. So like you can get white label SEO, you can get white label web design, you can get white label pay-per-click. But if you need AI shit, like there's actually not a lot of people you can outsource that work to. And they're sort of like these rare commodities. I think anybody who starts an agency in that actually knows how to fulfill is going to have a huge advantage on that. So like I would. What's my thought on rank and rent websites? I mean, they work. So most of the shit that you guys like hear about, like I was trying that shit 15 years ago, often before it had a name. I actually remember the first time Dan called me and he was like, he didn't say rank and rent, but he's like, you know how miserable we are trying to get clients all the time. What if we just make the website? We can black hat the shit out of it because it's our own website. We'll get it to number one. And then when the phone starts ringing, we'll rent the phone calls. So instead of saying, hey, hire me and I'll get you to number one, we'll say, we already got number one and we got phone calls. Who wants to buy them? What I wish I knew about that, Casey, is that you still have to know how to choose clients, because if they don't know how to close, like rank and rent, they ain't going to pay you, just like they wouldn't pay you on retainer. So the clients who make the best candidates for rank and rent are the ones who already have their shit together closing. So there's telltale signs that they know how to close without you even talking to them. One of those is they have a CRM, so they're tracking every lead. Another one of those is they have salespeople who are like professionally dressed. So you think about like in roofing, if the guy shows up smoking a cigarette, like, yeah, me and Tony can get up there, probably be about 10 grand. That's not a closing system. But if they have like, JC Roofing and Sons, and they show up and they got a clipboard and an estimate, and they have branded trucks. That's another sign. They got branded trucks. Like if they drive an old shitty Mexican pickup truck, that's very different than if we have to look professional, right? So there's telltale signs, but those are the people that you need to rent those leads, because otherwise you get what we did is like you send them 10 phone calls and they go, well, these leads are shit, because they don't call them for a day and a half and they don't pick up their phone, and then they just cancel. They just cancel like regular clients. They just fucking cancel and cancel and cancel. And then you're like, man, like I'm trying to give them free business and they fuck it up. So it only works for like 5% of the top people. But once you know who those are, rent them some leads. They'll pay for them. When reaching out to shoe stores, do you use a Handraiser or just a benevolent dictator? Just to be clear, Paul, I have different approaches for partners and one-to-one clients. So Handraiser is a one-to-one client thing. Hey, would you be interested in blank? Partnerships are different because, firstly, because there's a limited number of them. So like in my case, when I went into water damage restoration, like one of the things I decided is I wanted to get in the industry associations because they knew all the contractors, right? There's only like 5 of them in restoration: RIA, Clean Facts. What's the other one? CNR, cleaning and restorations. I don't know. There's like 5 of them anyway, right? You only got 5 shots in that gun, and then you're out of targets, right? So you got to approach those a lot more carefully. So what I do that's very different, it's almost like being a ninja. Like, okay, so like, I don't know if you guys ever played any like stealthy video games back in the day, but when you're like, so I got a Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not even really a Harry Potter guy, but the game looked bitchin'. Actually, the game looked bitchin' because I saw a YouTube video and he had this telekinesis power and he was using his wand and he was just making this guy smack off the ground. And I was like, I want to just grab a bad guy and start whipping him off the ground. So I bought the game for my Nintendo Switch. Okay, there are some missions in the game where you got to go totally stealth mode. So you have this like spell, you can make yourself like temporarily invisible, but if you get too close to somebody, they can tell. Unless you sneak up right up their back, then you can kind of like kill them from the back. So before you like go in there guns blazing, you go in there real stealthy and you look around, you go, okay, there's a guy over there. Yeah, there's 2 up there. Yeah, there's 1 down there. And you formulate a game plan, right? You're like, okay, how are we going to do this? Okay, I can kill this guy without anybody seeing. Okay, that guy's easy. You're done. Okay, what about the 2 up there? How do we get them? Oh, let's use an explosion so that we can get 2 of them at once. But won't that draw the other guards? And you start like formulating a thing. So like approaching a shoe store to me is much more customized. You don't have to spend hours doing it. Like it's like 5 minutes of research, but it's research. You want to know who they are, what they're selling, what they published it to who. And I always try and show up helping them. Like, or if I can't figure out a way to help them, then I'll usually say, as step 1, can I interview you? Like just to get to know them. And by the way, that's not the whole process. I'm just trying to get to them on a first name basis. But the reason I'm doing that is because like you don't have unlimited shots at those people. So like Versus like say contractors, I got 30,000 fucking chances and more because I could take 30,000 attempts and I could still go back to the first one. So I tend to use hand raisers for end clients. And the other thing is too, with a shoe store, you're not actually selling anything. So there is no need to hand raise. You're trying to collaborate with them so that ultimately they drive business to you. So like in my case, it was like one of the things I remember is part of the reconnaissance. What I want to know is firstly, what are they publishing? Because most of the big giants in your industry are content creators in various forms. So I looked at, they had a magazine. They did Ask the Expert 5-minute interviews. They published a YouTube channel. Okay. So one of the first things I did is like, hey, I wrote you a magazine article. Why did I do that? Well, because they got a fucking magazine. Another thing I did is like, hey, I got a really cool idea for an Ask the Expert 5-minute interview. And then they like publish that on their YouTube. Like I'm doing that to get into their flow, catch their wind. So that's kind of the point of that. Yeah, I can share the shoe store. Find the shoe stores. For you, those guys who never use it, this will show you the people in your industry that have buying audiences. Let me just catch up a little bit on some of the ones in from the group real quick, and then I'll come back to the chat real quick. Nicholas says, could anyone give me a few words of advice on my Handraiser? I've been running this as an ad for 2 days now. Have no micro indicators at all. No likes, no comments. Certainly no one filling out the lead form. I honestly feel like it's spot on. I'm a little butthurt. I'm not getting any interest at all. Type B2C, niche, entrepreneurship, startup, product, accountability, community, mastermind. And then there's some quotes from the ad. It says, I spend hours planning, but not calling clients. I keep missing opportunities to grow my business. I keep avoiding the real work. If you're a business owner that feels utterly exhausted by restarting your podcast every week, I hear you. There's a better way, and it makes doing the work easy. 25 slots open for free. Then it goes to $1,240 per attendee. Fill out the form, and I'll contact you if you're a good fit. All right, Nicola. So firstly, I think anytime you put yourself out there and you actually try and you actually do shit, like that is to be commended. Okay. So I'm going to critique you. I'm going to bust your balls a little bit, but only from the perspective of like, let's dial this in so it works. I will tell you the truth. I know you thought it was going to work, but you're actually a long ways from home on this one. Like you're actually like quite a long ways from home. Let me tell you why. Okay. Biggest reason is you skip that step where you actually do the market research and you see the problems as they say them in their own words. So you have some things in there, by the way, that I guarantee you came from your head and not from your client. So I spend hours planning, but not calling clients. I keep missing opportunities to grow my business. I keep avoiding the real work. Firstly, I don't think you even want people that are not doing the real work. That's a whole story for another day. But I guarantee you, is that nobody says I keep missing opportunities to grow my business. I keep missing opportunities, man. If they do, they would be more specific about what types of opportunities they're missing. Like I can't get on a call or whatever, right? So this is coming from your head, not from your target client's mouth. And I'll give you something here that will make all of you infinitely more effective in writing and creating hand raisers and messaging. And it is this. Parrot, but don't write. Okay. What does a parrot do? Burp, probably want a cracker. It just repeats. Okay. So your job is to do the research. And I'll give you a phrase here that you can put into Google. I'll type this into the chat. Okay. It will help you do that market research. And I like to use Reddit. I'll tell you why I liked. Oh, it didn't actually post. Error. Try again. Let's see if that works. Did that work? So I had to kind of like work around because YouTube chat is stopping me from posting that link. But it would say site reddit.com. And that ensures that whatever you search is only going to show you links from Reddit. And the reason I like Reddit as a research tool is because people upvote answers. And so that tells you this was the best, most insightful answer. And hardest part of being a blank, in your case, startup or entrepreneur, will tell you pain. It's what sucks. It's what struggles. This is my problem. So actually, let's do it right now. Like just as reddit.com. Or let's go site reddit.com. Hardest part of being a startup, because you mentioned. Okay. What is the hardest part of creating, running, and startup? What do you think the hardest part of starting? What's the most painful part of the startup journey? Okay. Person says cold calling and building that initial momentum. That's the first upvoted answer. Probably the balancing act required to spend enough time not making money, but building, growing your business and paying your bills and not quitting your day job too early. Most businesses take a while to get enough revenue to be self-sustaining, and that period of time can be intense and stressful. Will you have financial obligations, family, etc.? Hiring people that care as much as you do. Okay, so there's like 3 things right there that, like in a Handraiser, will just make your Handraiser better, because you're guessing, just so you know, and I can tell you're guessing. And anybody who guesses wrong. By the way, one of the things I learned is pros don't guess. In fact, I got some time to spend with Jay Abraham, who's like a personal mentor of mine. And, I've met him a few times in real life, interviewed him a couple of times on this channel. For those of you guys who don't know, by the way, Jay Abraham is Damon John's mentor. He's Tony Robbins' mentor. Jay was filling out rooms of people to learn business from him at $10,000 a person. They'd get like 500 to 1,000 people in a room in 1970. And he would have weekend after weekend after weekend of people full from that. So they do like $1 million in an event and do that weekend after weekend after weekend. And Jay did it everywhere. People pay Jay Abraham $250,000 plus royalties to write a sales letter for their product. And I remember saying to him, I said, Jay, how in the living fucking hell do you get people to pay you $250,000 plus royalties? Like, and how do you even come up with a sales letter that good? And what really blew my mind is when he explained how he came up with a sales letter. He said, I went to this website. You guys may have heard of it. It's called Amazon.com. He says, I look up all the books on the topic, and then I click on the reviews, and I look at all the 5- and 1-star reviews, and I look at the things people said they absolutely loved about the book and all the things they hated about the book. And I found like things on that topic and theme, and I got them to figure out the things they loved the most and the things they hated the most. Then he said, I'd make a table and I would put things they hate, things they love, and I would just put all those together in a table. And then he would say that was the basis of the sales letter. I'd say the product's going to move you away from this thing you hate and towards this thing you love. And he would just do the most upvoted things. And I was like, that's diabolically simple and brilliant. Diabolically fucking brilliant. And I realized that the magic of that was that he got clients to tell him what he wanted. He didn't guess. So my solution to you is stop guessing. Stop guessing. Stop guessing what people want. Do the fucking research. And then parrot it back to them. Your ads will get better. If you're trying to write cool ads, you're not going to write cool. You're never going to write it. Like I learned this when I was trying to write ads to lawyers. The best ads to lawyers wrote. Great Handraiser messaging, all that, or website copy if you intend to use it there, is compiling, not writing. It's organizing the shit they told you, not writing it from scratch. So I'm picking on you a little bit, but that's why you're missing the mark, because you're like, nobody, like, let me just reread, because there was like one thing that stuck out to me. Said, feels utterly exhausted by restarting your progress every week. Guarantee you not one person ever said that, except you. That may be how you observe their behavior, that they're restarting. And there may be some validity to that, but that's not how they describe it. That's how you describe it. And so as long as you describe it how you would describe it, like, you're going to miss the mark. So the best thing to do, and by the way, a lot of times they describe their problems simpler than we would. Like, I remember we did this research in the dental niche. So like oral is a guy, he was like a really successful Google Ads guy, but he was a generalist for a lot of years. And he said, I really want to specialize this in dentists, but I don't know how to break into dentists. We did the research, and the dentist said, my biggest problem, they said it in 4 words: the chair is empty. And what they meant is, I have a hygienist. I pay her $75 an hour, plus, when you include all the overhead and benefits and all that, or $45 an hour, whatever the fuck they pay her. I don't know. I'm not paying hygienists, but a lot. They pay her a lot of money to work on patients. And whenever there is a gap in the schedule, there is no patient in the chair, but there is a hygienist collecting a check. The chair is empty. Hey, dentist, is the chair empty? 4 words. That's how you get their attention. You try and write that, you're going to say some convoluted, have you noticed that your practice is struggling with, like, you're going to write some stupid shit that doesn't sound like a dentist. So don't. This is my suggestion. Don't write it. Don't write it. Parrot it, but do the research and compile it. And the Reddit methodology and like the market research bot, which I'll post again, is really based out of what Jay Abraham taught me of how he came up with it. I was just like, hey, there's actually more sites than just Reddit where you can do this. But I'm going to post my market research bot again. But Nicola, my dude, do the research, or your hand raisers are not going to work. They won't convert because you're going to guess. Eventually, though, you will get to the point where you can speak their language so deeply that then you can start to guess. After like 6-12 months, you can fill in the gaps of what's in their head. Deacon Nick says, I watch a handful of Frankie's videos, and I'm on a lot of the Monday calls, but I'm still trying to figure this out. What are the framework steps he uses for the Loom videos? I'm a bit confused on the sequence. Is it 1, reach out to someone to start a conversation? 2, find out their pain point? 3, send custom Loom video? 1, cold outreach. Can I send you a video? Send custom video. Follow up. All his public videos seem to go through the break the ice, hand raise, show them a demo, but I can't find one that shows the steps or the sequences. So I mentioned this before, my brother. Part of the reason I don't show like steps, because there's actually more than one way to be right about this. Like, we have people that have had success with Loom videos where they just like literally just send them out cold to stranger, entire pitch, and a percentage of people buy it, and they never talk to anyone. And I don't think that's the highest, best use of it, but we have people who do that, just so you know. We have people who, instead of sales calls, they'll make personalized one-to-one videos and send them. We have people who run ads to them as a VSL. So part of the reason, like, I'm kind of iffy on the steps, because there isn't just one way. The most important detail, and I'll give you my preferred framework, but the most important detail is that you actually know what a client wants. Okay. So I mentioned this before, but I was like, Ilk and I had a lot of like Friday date nights, and I was just checking out restaurants and stuff like that. And there was a cafe called Cacao, and I clicked on it, and the entire menu is chocolate. The entire fucking menu is chocolate. Now, this woman here is a chocoholic, just so you know. Every drink is like a hot chocolate or a chocolate frappe or a chocolate smoothie. It's all chocolate. The food, chocolate. Like, they got sweets, you can try them. They got nuts, they got whatever. But like, there's like 37 menu items, all chocolate. Okay. I'm selling that to a chocoholic. We got to go. Now, I want you to just eliminate the idea of steps and sequence for a second, because this is an offer that is clearly desirable to the right person. How many different ways could I send that to her and have it work? Could I text it to her? Could I message her? Could I email her? Could I call her? Could I video her? Could I do a sales call? Like, no matter how you do it, if you got the right offer, I got you chocolate. Like, it'll move forward. So that's actually the most important detail, is not the steps. I know people ask me about the steps, but if you don't have chocolate to somebody who's a chocoholic, then you're missing the details. If I say, like, imagine she's a vegetarian and go, you want to go for a giant T-bone? She ain't going to buy it. Okay. So let me tell you my preferred steps. Okay. What I like to do is I reach out to what I call a shoe store, somebody who has a audience in that space, and I co-create valuable stuff for them. And ultimately what I'm doing is I'm giving away my ideas for free, knowing that people will come back to me looking for help on the implementation. So step 1 for me is I get my stuff into an audience. Then what happens is, like, let's say I get on a podcast in the industry. I expect 5, 10, 15 people when that thing gets published to reach out to me. When they do, first thing I do, and like typically they're filling out a form telling me what they want as part of the form, right? So they're saying like, "Hey, I need to get some jobs of this kind, or I'm trying to do this," right? So the pain kind of conversation almost doesn't even need to happen because they've already sort of told me. So like they're filling out a form on my website doing, and I'm telling you, this is my preferred way of doing it. Again, this is not the only way, just so you know. Um, the next piece of the puzzle is when they've done that, I say, "Hey," and again, it depends where I'm at in the sale, but I show them my plan for them. I say, "Hey, I got some ideas for you on that already. Can I send a couple of things I had in mind? Here. These are the things I would do." And then I say, "If you're interested, I can put together a quote of what it would look like." Now, again, it depends a little bit on like the pre-selling you do. So in my case, once I get to a certain level, that video is already on the website. So they already know the price and everything by the time they reach out. Now it's just like, okay, let's formalize a few of the details. But I'm talking about like where most of you are at, where it's a new offer and it hasn't converted yet, and you're trying to get it off the starting block. So when they come to me, I'm going, "Hey, I got some ideas for you." And at the end of that, I'm saying, "If you want, I can give you a quote on what it would look like to get those ideas built for you." And then that's when I would send a Loom video. And then usually in the beginning stages, there's follow-up required. I call them nudges or taps, but you need to like nudge them forward a little bit. And it's usually those 4 steps, like basically. And then once I have it working, I publish my stuff in a shoe store. I have a formal video right on the damn website that has all the pricing and details. And it's like, click here if you want to take the next step to work together. And then I accomplish a lot of the other things through advertising. Like I advertise my shoe store content. Meaning, like if I publish a podcast, I will promote that podcast through the power of paid ads, driving people to my Loom video and let the power of video do the heavy lifting. Watch my 30-minute thing, watch my 5-minute thing. Then they come to me 98% sold. It's just a matter of filling in the details. So there's more than one way to be right about this, but less important than the sequence is just making sure you know what they actually want, right? There's a lot of ways to make chocolate work. If you're talking to a chocoholic, if you miss the mark, then you can nail all the dance steps and sequences you want, right? And part of this is I'll tell you something I learned is the switch from pressure-based selling, which is what's taught in our industry, jump on a call, I'm going to convince you to do it, to offer-based selling where it's more research, it's more figure out what they want. But once we figure out they really want chocolate, we don't have to work so hard to sell chocolate. We just need to demonstrate that I really do have it. I really do have a chocolate place. This is the chocolate restaurant. This is their menu. You're going to go here, me and here. We're going to like it. It's going to cost this much. If you want to get started, here's how to do it, right? We're just making the argument, demonstrating that it's real. I really do have chocolate. So a big part of it, it just means like you gotta do those basic steps to figure out what your market wants. And then a lot of the sequences, you can be wrong on a lot of sequence and still be right if you have something they want. But my preferred, like I generally take them through 4 buckets. Raise their hand. First, say I'm interested. So in my case, that actually happens at the shoe store level because they wouldn't even watch the content if they weren't interested. Then 2, I say, here's what would be my plan for you. It's like I give them the service in idea form. What do you think of the idea? Then it's like implementation. That's where the Loom video comes in. This is what it would look like to get it done together. And then follow-up nudges, taps are, let me go into more detail about what this would look like for you, right? Because they don't really care in the abstract sense that you got some guy in Florida jobs if they're in Nebraska. Like, let me show you what it would look like for you to get jobs in Nebraska. These keywords, these changes to your website, these changes to your GBP, right? So that's the steps I'm moving them through. But having said that, like don't get married to the steps, because every time I'm actually kind of blown away at how people have interpreted Loom videos 1,000 different ways and twisted them. So they just close them like 1,000 different ways. It's like, it blows my fucking mind. I'm just going to I got 3 more questions in my doc here, and then I'll come back to the chat. Celia, anyone with some good ad graphic examples for kitchen remodeling cabinets? I'll tell you the demonstration ads that I have found to work the best. And again, there's more than one way to be right about this. So like, don't take this as gospel. I'm just giving you a good starting place. One, if you're trying to get kitchen remodeling clients, the best thing to do is show them examples of people who have messaged them or will message them saying, I need my kitchen done. Here's a picture of my old shitty kitchen. Okay. That's for getting clients. As far as running ads for clients to get them, homeowners who want to do it, before, after. This was the old ugly kitchen. This is the new one. And then include all the details, including the price. That's what we found works best. Again, there's more than one way to be right about this. I'm just giving you a good starting place. I found, by the way, the longer I run ads, demonstration ads almost never get the most likes, almost never get the most comments, almost never go viral. But last I checked, I can't pay my bills in going viral. But they show up in the bank account and they make sales. And that's what ultimately we're running ads for. So like that's what I like to do personally. Kyle says, what type of offer is working for getting home service business clients? That's such a loaded question, Kyle. Firstly, because home service is a lot of things. That's a plumber. That's a fence guy. That's a bathroom guy. That's that's a basement repair. That's a foundation guy. That's like, that's a tree cutter. That's a landscaper, right? So that's a wide spectrum of things, but I'll tell you the simplest offers that I've found that work almost universally in every industry is pick a niche, find the most expensive thing they sell and say, I specialize in helping you get your most expensive thing. Sounds like almost too simple, but nobody does it. Everybody says, I'll get you more. And the biggest reason why more doesn't work is a lot of times there's no margin for local businesses because they have trucks to pay for, staff, insurance, gas. After they pay all those things, a lot of times they're working for free. So almost always their expensive thing resolves all that. So if I was going to do this in roofing, instead of saying, I'll get you more jobs, I'll say, I'll get you the big commercial jobs. If I was going to do this for a landscaper, it wouldn't be like, I'll get you more jobs. It would be like, hey, I'll get you the big backyard renovations where they want a pool and a pond and they want to spend 50 grand or more, like doing a whole doohickey. If I was doing, like general contracting, it wouldn't be like, I'll get you more jobs. It'd be like, I'll get you the $40,000 kitchen jobs, right? Like the more you aim it specifically at something, the better it's going to be for them. Having said that, we could talk about offers till we're blue in the face. So I'm not gonna like go too deep on that right now. Otherwise, this will turn into a 6-hour chat. And I don't think anybody here wants to listen to me for 6 hours. Brandon says, help requested from the agency, bro. I was looking to challenge myself, build an agency based on my passion, even though I feel like it'd be challenging, niching to help basketball trainers market and sell their top programs versus individual sessions. Eventually want to branch out to other sports, but want to laser focus. Any suggestions on how to clearly pitch this and build the agency? From the Frankie AI app, youth sports market is expected to roughly double in the next 8 years. I've seen others do it, and I see the light. You kind of actually hit on it right there. Like that would be the first Handraiser I would test. Okay. Problem or symptom, selling one-off sessions. Outcome. We can help you sell them as 8-week packages, right? You getting somebody who just comes for one session, we can help you sell them as 8-week packages. By the way, a lot of the people who pay them for one-off sessions don't give them money for 8-week packages because they don't offer 8-week packages, right? So it's like, come in for a session, come in for another session, come in for another, right? Like they don't just go, hey, we got this 8-week basketball camp. And by the end of it, you'll be able to make threes like Larry Bird. Larry Bird was a man back in the day, by the way. That dude was jacking threes way before it was cool. I don't know why, but I've been on YouTube Bender lately watching 90s basketball. I was never even that big of a basketball guy, but I love Michael Jordan, especially. Like Michael Jordan's a fucking man. Just like watching him midair, tongue out. But anyways, like that would be the first Handraiser I would test. Like we can get you away from the one-off sessions and into the, ongoing packages. And by the way, I'll tell you another thing they'll struggle with getting people to refer. An easiest way to get them to refer is give them tools. Hey, if you know anybody, they'll get first sessions on us. Like that's it. Give them a little fucking thing they hand out to people. They're not only will your ads work, but you'll double the number of people that come through your ads because they don't have a referral mechanism. Join our 8-week thing, and because you're a friend of Randy, you get the first session free. try before you buy kind of thing, right? So dude, like, it sounds like you're onto something. And I like those passion ones, niches that you actually give a fuck about. All right. I gotta go way back to the chat. What if the shoe store asks me if I have clients? They won't, Paul. Part of the reason they don't is because if you demonstrate you know how to help them, then they'll assume you know how to help their clients. Like, if I go in and I go, hey, like, dude, I was just checking out your sales page right here. You guys are trying to sign members. The fucking link is broken. But let me fix that for you. Right? Like, that actually happened, by the way. That's not like a theoretical thing. I went to go check out their sales page for like become a member. I clicked it and it said 404. I was like, dude, how are people supposed to pay you to become a member if it doesn't fucking work? And they're like, oh shit. Hey, we want me to have my team come in and fix it. So how do they know I can help their people? Because I just fucking helped them. That's how I know. Right? So like, the more you help them, the less they'll ask you, who else have you done this for? Patrick says, Frankie, just finished your book a few days ago. I want to say thanks. Flip my whole perspective about getting good clients upside down. Yeah, by the way, I appreciate that, Patrick. I've been through my own version of that. Obviously, I wrote that book from getting my ass kicked with having shitty clients. You don't realize it until you go through it, but 60% of agency success is knowing how to pick the winners. As one of my mentors, Travis, would say, you bet on the jockey, not on the horse. Right? Knowing how to pick the winning jockeys is like a big part of it. Businesses that would win without you, you just enhance them. Do you leave streams up to watch later? Yes, that happens automatically. YouTube keeps live streams up, so you guys can watch them from 3 years ago if you want. As Yasser says, yeah, he scooped me on the answer, but I didn't read that yet. How do I get better at running ads for clients? That's a smart question. That's a really smart question. I'll tell you, in my experience, the biggest lever for getting better at running client ads, and this requires creativity, and nobody will talk about this because I'm part of like a lot of communities where they're like Google ads, Facebook ads, media buying, YouTube ads, shit like that. Everybody loves to talk about the technical shit. Oh, only duplicate the winners by this much and 10% this, and make sure you have this campaign setting checked and not that one. And I'm not saying all of those things don't matter, but like all of those are way smaller in comparison to offers. And I'll tell you the biggest reason your clients can't sell their shit is because they don't have offers. A lot of times, never mind good offers, they don't even have offers at all. It's just like Dave's Plumbing. This is the business template that like 98% of businesses use. Business name. We do blank, blank, and blank. Call now. Established 1997, if it's even that fucking good. So I'll give you an example of this. And one of the easiest ways, by the way, to enhance their offers is to add bonuses. And it doesn't even have to be their shit. So I'll give you a real life example. We got Richard from the mastermind, and he's working with dentists. And he had this dentist in the UK. And the dentist was trying to get people into like some kind of monthly smile club or something. I don't even remember what the fuck it was. And it was boring as shit. I look at the offer. I'm like, that's boring as shit, dude. And the dentist wanted him to like advertise it to his customers and run some ads. I'm like, you're severely handicapped by a shitty ad. So he was like, well, what can we do? And I was like, well, let's add some bonuses just to make it cooler. So we went on a website. There's a website. I don't know if you guys have ever visited. It's really cool. If you do get a chance, called Cameo, CAMEO.com. It has a bunch of athletes and celebrities and movie stars and, you know, people like that. Like for me, old wrestlers. They're famous people who for like usually $50 to $100 will make you a custom 5 or 10 minute video. And like they do this as a whole revenue stream. So like my buddy had his birthday party. He watches Trailer Park Boys. One of the main characters is a guy named Bubbles. Bubbles was on there. I got Bubbles to make my buddy a birthday video. Happy birthday from Bubbles. No fucking way, dude. You got me Bubbles. Right? So we went on there and we looked in the dentist area, and there was a famous football team. This is in the UK where football is, you know, kicking the ball, not helmets and pads and smashing each other. And so we went on Cameo, and there was a football guy, and he was like making videos for like $50. And like he was famous, like everybody knew who he was. And so we're like, hey, if you join our Smile Club right now, you know, I don't remember what the guy's name is. Let's just call him CJ Smith. It was definitely not CJ Smith, but like, I don't know. I'm winging it. Hey, if you join our Smile Club right now, we got 3 CJ Smith has been kind enough to make 3 bonus videos to the first people who join, and there'll be 1 extra video raffled off to anybody who joins. And they end up selling a bunch of that shit. And by the way, that wasn't, we just added a bonus. He already had the fucking Smile Club. It was just a shitty offer. So I was like, how can we add something to it that makes it cooler? By the way, when most local businesses, when they think about making offers, their mind goes straight to, how can I cut the price? How can I discount it? To me, I go, what can I add to it to make it cooler? And by the way, you're not limited to the things that business sells. You can Starbucks gift certificates, Amazon. I know a guy actually who sold $1 million homes. And one of the things they do is, like, a lot of real estate agents, they'll have what's called an open house. So like on a weekend from like 1 to 4, it's like open hours where anybody interested can walk through. And generally speaking, if it's sporadic, you get like 1 person an hour, you won't sell that home. But if you get like 50 people in the house at the same time, they'll all realize they're competing and you'll sell the house really quickly. So he just ran an offer that said, come look at the house and you get a free $10 Starbucks gift card with it. And like 50 people came to look at the house for the gift card, this tiny little fucking Starbucks gift card. And he's selling $1.5 million, dollar mansions where he's at. And anybody can fucking throw in a $10 Starbucks gift card. So if you want to get better at clients, like running ads for clients, help them figure out their offers, because they don't even fucking have them. They don't even fucking have them. And actually, by the way, we've talked about closing on Loom as your stuff, but you can actually do this for clients. So like, I remember Lana came to me in the mastermind, and like, credit to her, because she's a genius, wizard, super chick on her own. But she had this problem where when we first started, she's running ads for yoga studio owners. And the intro offer is, come get a free class. And she was driving them to a phone call. And the yoga studio owners were so fucking bad that they couldn't even close a free phone call. Like, she had a call. I remember the person was driving and they said, hey, I want to schedule my free, session. And they said, come on a Wednesday. And they said, well, what's the address? And I said, actually, I just got a new studio. I don't know the address. Can I call you back? And then they didn't call the person back. So they like couldn't even close a fucking free session. And then I was like, Lana, if the offer is that good, it's a free session, why do they need to talk to anybody? Can't they just schedule it right on the website? Like, they don't need to be sold a free session. So she did. Then one day she got the idea. So the second sale, I should say, like backtracking a little bit, the second sale is, okay, now that you got your free session, become a paying member. And they said they would never even pitch it. Like, they wouldn't even tell people about their membership. And so eventually she got the idea, why don't I just create like an 8-week intro offer? Come join the yoga studio owner and sell it on the website. I think it's like $149. And now she started selling the intro offer on the website. So now her clients don't have to talk to anybody. They don't have to sell. They just go to the website, they sign up and buy, and they get paying customers. And Lana pays them, not ask them for a fee. And here's the thing too, for her, it scales better, right? It's an offer-based sale instead of a pressure-based sale, which means the next time she gets a client, like, she can use the same damn landing page, the same damn offer, the same damn everything, change a name and a phone number, and like be able to start selling her client stuff. She said, since she's made that change, by the way, it's been 3 years since a client said to her, all the leads are bad. So if you want to get better at closing client shit, I know everybody's going to tell you all the media buying answers. They're going to say, learn how Google ads work even better. But like, local businesses suck at making offers. We do blank, blank, and blank. Call now. That's all they're saying. And go, hey, let's take one of those blanks. What's your most popular blank? That one? Okay, let's turn that into an offer. Let's add in this bonus here and that bonus here. You get a free massage if you come sign up right now on us. Get a new kitchen. We'll give you a massage. Like just think about that. Okay. 2 contractors. Hey, need to get a new kitchen built. This guy over here says, we do kitchens. This guy over here says, hey, we do kitchens. And since we know we're going to be clanging and banging for 2 days, we got you a special day at the spa. You're going to have a massage on us. You're going to have lunch on us, and we're going to take care of you so that you can just go enjoy yourself. And we'll worry over here about clanging and banging your kitchen. Like, the bonus makes it better. It's $100 worth of shit. Wouldn't you pay $100 to go get a client, run an ad? So why not include that in an offer? I'm ranting a little bit, but I think that's the single biggest lever that clients suck at. How much co-creation do you do with a shoe store before you ask them to send over clients to you? Usually just 1 or 2 things. Just 1 or 2 things. And then I say, hey, like, I got this cool idea. I don't expect you to trust me on it, but I'd love to do it for one or two of your people. Once we're like just kind of on a first name basis. And usually between me asking and me co-creating them, Paul, just so you know, is like we're becoming friends. Like I comment on their stuff. I friend them on social media. I say, hey, you got cute kids and shit like that, you know. For a person with zero experience in digital marketing, can a person do good in do a good highly researched growth audit for a prospect and send before after visualization with this work in Loom? Probably not, just being real with you. Partly because nobody wakes up and says, "Ooh, I really need an audit." Need an audit. If you can make that audit focused on something meaningful for them, or like, "Hey, I did an audit to see where you can find some kitchen jobs." But that requires knowing what their most expensive thing is and doing a little bit of research. So I'm not against audits, but a lot of people do audits, and in this day and age where people are busy, it's less appealing than most people realize. Better to like actually get something done. How do you make sure your chocolate actually tastes good and they don't go find another chocolate maker? That's actually easy. Like 98% of agencies are just selling what I call the undefined more. Get you more leads, more sales, more customers, more. Very few of them are saying, hey, we'll get you chocolate. In fact, like I used to have this conversation when in the beginning, when I did Facebook ads for personal injury attorneys, the prevailing wisdom was, oh, you can only do Google ads because Facebook is interruption and it doesn't work for our industry. And I was like, well, I know that's bullshit because you guys run TV and radio ads and those are interruption. Like Facebook's just a different media, but if you can make it work there, you can make it work here. So for like the first year I did it, like I was like one of the only people I know running Facebook ads for personal injury attorneys. After a year, there were like 100 people who all said, oh, we sell Facebook ads for personal injury attorneys. And I knew that would happen, by the way. I wasn't like shocked, but it became less of a appealing promise. Then I said to some of my guys, I was like, what are your most expensive cases? And they gave me like 3-4 answers. In other words, like, what are your $100 bill? And they said, trucking cases, ones where people die. I forget what they called those. Motorcycle cases. And they gave me one more. I don't remember what the other one was. But I was like, hey, I could actually, with Facebook ads, I think we could actually do the motorcycle stuff. I looked it up. We could do it. I'd get clients who come in the door and say, hey, well, we're already running Facebook ads. And I'd say, well, are you going after regular motor vehicle stuff? Or are you going after this $100 bill motorcycle stuff? And they'd say, I think we're just going after the regular stuff. I go, well, that's fine. We can use the same account. No skin off my back, homie. Right? Like, and then they'd say, fine. And so what you'll find is most agencies skip the research. They don't actually know what people want. Like my research was just asking a client or 2 or 3, what kind of cases are the most valuable to you? That was my research, asking them. But everybody skips that. And so like most of your industry doesn't have chocolate. They got like some bitter, undesirable thing. Like it's actually like businesses unconsciously copy each other. I actually, I'll tell you, I experienced this locally. I'll give you an example of this. Okay. I live on the fucking ocean. Everybody here does. Like it's not unique to me, but I wanted to take my kids and rent a boat for like an hour, just an hour, like not a full day trip, not a guided tour. And I went to rent a boat and you can't. Now there are 10,000 fucking boat vendors here and they all sell one of 3 things. Whale shark tour. There's a famous island here called Espiritu Santo, like Saint Spirit, I guess, island. And drop 10 grand on a yacht for 4 hours. And all 10,000 of them sell one of those 3 things. So here's me just like, can I just rent a boat for an hour, fuck around for an hour, come back? No, can't do that. We'll take you on a tour, an 8-hour tour of the island. My kids won't make an 8-hour tour. So businesses unconsciously copy each other. Very few of them are like, hey, there's this, like, even if I was selling those things, I would figure out a way to make it unique. Like have your bachelor party on the water. Or there's a thing here when people get turn 15, a quinceañera. Like, hey, we'll do a quinceañera on the boat. But it's the same fucking 3 tours. They're all selling them. 10,000 vendors all selling 3 things. So I promise if you have chocolate, if you do the research and have chocolate, nobody else is going to have your chocolate. Hey guys, I'm trying to figure out how to get leads by optimizing expenses with automation. I know SMSMA like hype, but it just isn't what I do and understand how to deliver and support. I'm not sure I understand that question. I'm trying to figure out how to get leads by optimizing expenses with automation, but it's just what I do and understand how to deliver and support. Sorry. Yeah, you're going to have to ask that a different way. I don't know what you mean. Sabri Subri sell like crazy is amazing for offer creation. Yeah, totally. Cool thing about local businesses is like their offers suck already. So it's like, it's not hard to come up with a better offer than them. Most businesses, like they're advertising like it was 1900. In 1900, this is what you had to do to generate business. You put up a sign and you say blacksmith, and people came, right? Now we're in the area where there's 150 blacksmiths. They're competing on Google. They all got similar pricing. They all do the same shit. They all have the same messaging. In fact, one little fun exercise I did, I was running a workshop for personal injury attorneys with another guy, like very intimate one. And I remember I said, do you understand how you all sound the fucking same? And they said, oh, no, there's differences. And so I went to all of their websites and I copied and pasted pictures of what they said. This was like between sessions. So it was like a 3-day thing, 2-day thing. I don't remember. Like over a weekend anyway. And I went through and copied and pasted their websites and removed the name and the logo and all that and just kept the section. All of them said they're experienced. All of them said, no fee unless you win. All of them said, we'll fight hard. They like literally use the exact same words and phrases. And I put them up as a collage on there. And I said, tell me which one of those is your website. And then they got the point I was making. I said, if you can't even tell your own website from there, how do you think the average fucking client feels? Like trying to decide. So they all look and sound the same. And so the magic of that is like, it doesn't take much to stand out with an offer. You know, every plumber is going to go, Dave's Plumbing. We do A, B, and C. Joe's Plumbing. We also do A, B, and C, right? Like they're all the same. Nobody's going, hey, get your drain clean for $99 plus you'll also get a, whatever, right? Nobody's doing that. Here's the current offer, 33% off first 4 customers and value adds is 30-year warranty. This is for my epoxy flooring client. Yeah, you're in one of those boring niches. Like, I don't think anybody gets all that excited by epoxy flooring clients. So you're probably going to have to bring in some outside bonuses. Things from other industries. Like some of my go-to Starbucks, Amazon gift cards, massages. Everybody likes getting a massage for buying a thing. iPads work really well as like a bonus. Dinner on us, send them to a fancy restaurant. Like those are some of the go-tos you can include. Hey, if you buy the epoxy flooring from us, we'll also include dinner for 2 at this Michelin star restaurant, blah, blah, blah. Actually closed the client not too recently where it was, we had a special where we were running like it was in a local area. They got dinner at a Michelin star restaurant as part of the deal. How about running an affiliate program for your clients? Refer 10 clients and get 50% off your billing. I think that's a very smart strategy in general to help clients set up affiliate programs. And the best people, by the way, that make affiliates are their existing clients. They just don't do anything with their, like, if you think about like I always use restaurants as an example because it's an easy business to wrap your head around. But this is what most restaurants do when they want to get more people in the door. Hope, pray, and wait. And almost none of them do anything proactive. In fact, I was actually thinking about it. Like we've been to more than 100 places down here. And there's only one place that proactively added me to a list. It's a Chinese bao bun place called Chin Bao. And Chin Bao was like, all right, hey, we got a special. Can we text it out? You're a VIP. You get special pricing and stuff. So I joined their VIP list, which they send to me on WhatsApp. Everything in Mexico goes over WhatsApp. And I know he texts like, hey, we've been making ramen all morning. We got a ramen special. Or, hey, we got new mushrooms in. So we made mushroom bao buns. I've been to that place like 100 times every other place because he reminds me he exists and makes offers. So most businesses don't remind their customers they exist. They don't do anything. So if you make like an affiliate program where their customers are reminding their other customers, they'll do it. But most businesses think, oh,
They know what we do. They'll come in when they want to. But the reality is, like, I'm busy with shit. I forget. Everybody's had that, what do you want to eat for dinner conversation, right? If Chinbao sends me something 10 minutes before that conversation, they're going to win. So I like that a lot. Would there be any friction with the owner regarding offering more? Sometimes, but usually I tell them, like, hey, if we spent $100 on ads and got you somebody, would you be okay with that? And they say, yeah. So why not include $100 worth of bonuses? And a lot of times in most local businesses, for a lot of the stuff we sell, they have custom pricing anyway. So it's like, if they were going to charge $1,000, like, charge 1,100 and just build the price of the bonus into it. In fact, one of my favorite moves to, like, generate referrals is you give them a gift certificate for less than the value of the whole thing. It's like when we used to do plastic surgery, you get like a $500 gift certificate towards your next procedure. You can give them to friends and family. By the way, there's no plastic surgery procedure for $500. They don't exist. They start at like 6,000, right? If somebody comes in with a $500 gift certificate, you say, hey, normally the price is $6,500, but since you're a friend of Frankie's, you get it for just 6,000. In reality, the price was always 6,000, but they feel like they're getting a deal. So sometimes when the owners give you resistance, I just tell them, like, hey, I want you to bump up your pricing by the amount we're giving away the thing for. So you won't lose any profit margins, but you'll get more people. I'm testing outreach for pool contractors. What I'm doing, find the contractors with weak, no sites, send a short personalized video, then ask permission to share a free mock-up. If they agree, I send a 2. I'm not saying that can't work, Taha, but this is something that is a Dan Kennedy thing that really opened my eyes. A lot of people give me credit for. Oh, sorry. I see there's a part 2. I sent a 2-minute Loom showing the mock-up and explaining my offer and how it can bring more high-quality 50,000 pool jobs, fiberglass or in-ground pools, not tire kickers. Okay. So everything about what you just said sounds to me like right offer, wrong person. Right? Like the $50,000 pool jobs, the fiberglass in-ground, that sounds like $100 bill. That all sounds smart. The showing a mock-up, which is a demonstration, all that sounds smart. Wrong person. Okay. So this is a little bit counterintuitive, but so Dan Kennedy says, if you think about your marketing service like selling shoes, he says your first instinct will be to sell to somebody who's barefoot because they logically need what you sell. He says, in reality, what you want to do is sell to somebody who owns 200 pairs of shoes and make an argument for why they need a 201st pair. So a lot of times you look at somebody who's spending money advertising, has a website, and think that itch is scratched. Ergo, I will sell to somebody who needs shoes. Problem is, if the internet has been out for 30 years, you guys know, more than 30 years. So think about a business that for more than 3 decades has not bought a website. Like, very rarely do they go, today's the day I'm buying a website. So I'm not saying you won't ever convert those people, but they've behaviorally, they're saying to you, I don't buy shoes. Then I think about some of my top lawyer clients. Like, some of those motherfuckers have 200 domains. They'll have 8 locations, and each location gets a website. They'll have 3 practice areas, and each of those 3 practice areas gets the divorce Tampa, divorce Orlando, divorce Tallahassee, and then personal injury Orlando, personal injury Tampa, personal injury Tallahassee, right? They'll have each location will have a separate page. Then they'll also have like the practice owners. They'll sometimes like have a site just dedicated to each one. Like this lawyer gets a specialty site. And it may sound counterintuitive, but I would way rather sell websites to somebody who owns 100 websites than somebody who owns 0. And what most people try and do is they sell to somebody who's never once in their entire life invested money in it and try and convince them to do it. And I would way rather go, hey, you got 100 websites, but you don't have a Spanish version yet. Don't you want a Spanish? What are you going to do when the Spanish speaking people come, right? Or, something like that, and so in your case, I would say, hey, you got this main website. It's great, but I want to build you a second website that helps you sell just your high-end specialty in-ground pools. So I think you're selling it to the wrong people. And again, it's a little counterintuitive. I'm not saying you can't make sales, but you're selling to people who behave like, so I think of like my mom used to work at a dental office, and the guy who ran it was a dentist named Werner Weishar, Dr. Weishar, German guy. And he was like $100 million rich before he owned the dental practice. So his family had a construction company, and he owned a chain of haircutting places, and he had a bunch of real estate. And like, he didn't need to be a dentist. It was just a small time hobby. And he never once wanted to grow that business and never spent any money. And then one day he actually decided to sell the company, the practice, to a corporation, the Dental Corporation of Canada. And they said, as part of the sale, you got to get a website. It's 26 years this place has been in business. You need a fucking website. So after 26 years, he's finally like reluctantly buying a website. You try and sell to that guy, you're going to have you're paddling up shit's creek. I'm just saying. Versus somebody who already owns 100 domains. So everything about your offer I like. I just don't like who you're selling it to. I think you'll have a much easier time focusing on people that have a proven history of spending money on that. And make an argument why they need hey, love your site, like agree with them. Your current site is cool, but what do you guys think about adding on another site that's just focused on selling your fiberglass in-ground pools? That way, anybody who's interested in that, you just send them to that site and I'll help convert them. Here's a little mock-up. So your approach, the mock-up, that's a demonstration. There's a Handraiser there. It's the $100 bill. All of those boxes are checked. But I think if you sell it to the wrong who, you just get frustrated. Like when you try and sell shoes to people who are barefoot, you're like, they'll say things like, "Well, we've survived 30 years on word of mouth. Why should we hire you? Like, we don't need a website. Oh, most of our stuff is walk-ins." You go. Patrick says, Frankie, I just got a Handraiser from the owner of a mentorship program with 100 plus home services business owners inside, mostly carpenters. I'm going to send him a Loom after this. My idea was to add a MRR upsell to his offer and do the delivery as a white label partner. Didn't expect an answer so fast. I haven't done much research. Any advice? Yes, just pitch him on one. I know you want to do it for all 100 people, but that's a reputation risk to him. Like if he brings you in and your shit don't work, he's going to look stupid to his whole audience. So I say, hey, let me just do this one thing for your people or one person. Let me show you this thing works. And don't even talk about the idea I'm going to do it for 100 people. Just like if you just met a pretty girl, you wouldn't talk about marriage just yet. Even if that's what you had in mind, you just say, hey, like, let's go for coffee. So keep it small and casual. Hey, I got this idea. Let's do it for one person. My bad for mumbling to the question. I'm trying to figure out how to build consistent flow of clients. Right now, my offer is simple. I help business owners cut costs through automation. I'm stuck on acquisition. Part of the reason you're stuck on acquisition is because this is a hard mental thing to break. And a lot of us go through this. I've met very few people that start an agency or a SaaS. In fact, I can count them on one hand, the people I know who were independently wealthy before they got into this business. So almost all of us were poor and middle class. When you're poor and middle class, you get a job and you are trying to get hired. That's how you think about it, as I am trying to get hired. So you like give your resume, and then it's really in the HR person's hands whether or not they choose to interview you or move forward. You have very little say in your own fate. What you got to do, and I've beaten up these steps a lot, but okay, yeah, you could probably do automations for anybody about anything, but that leaves you in a position where you're sitting around waiting to get hired for somebody to come to you and say, hey, I need this automation built, and they have to know what they already want and then recognize that you're a person who can help build it. You're probably going to be sitting on your fucking hands and knuckles waiting for a long ass time. So that's why it's like pick a niche and then do the market research of like, this is the problems they have, which is why, by the way, I built this market research bot. Let me just put it in the chat once again. And then automate one thing that they all need automated again and again, and start with one person. But I'll tell you, like, sometimes people will ask me a question of how do I get people? And like you, it's so vague, it's so unfocused. It's any business owner anywhere who wants to automate anything, that it ends up saying nothing to anybody. And I can remember, like, back in the day, people would ask me, how do I find people who want to spend money on Google ads? And the truth is, I don't know. They don't walk around with signs on their hand saying I do Google ads. But the minute you say, hey, I want to automate this for e-commerce store owners, well, now we can go where the e-commerce store owners are. Like, I would join some Shopify communities on Facebook where there's nothing but e-commerce store owners. Or if you want to do it for dog trainers, like, we could go to the dog trainer forum, or to even like to the dog trainer event. You know, if you say, hey, I want to do it for, you know, accountants, we can go on LinkedIn and find the places where all the accountants hang out. So you have to get clear, not about what you do first, but who you do it for. And then next, what they're stuck on. If you skip that step, it's just vague, unfocused, and you're just going to sit around waiting to get hired. And it feels like the client is in control of the situation. When you create a solution, like, let's say you decide e-commerce store owners, and let's say one of the things they're bad at is they need to automate, like, a lot of guys drop ship. So, like, I have friends that when they used to do a lot of e-commerce, they'd get an order and they would turn around and go to AliExpress and they would put in that person's shipment info. Sounds like a small task, but if you're selling like 150 units a day and it takes you a minute or two every time you order it, you can spend 6 hours just ordering and drop shipping on AliExpress. Like, let's say you can build an automation that does that. Now we can go to e-commerce store owners and say, hey, any of you guys in here, like, this is a Handraiser, just, you know, any of you guys in here still manually taking orders from your Shopify and then going to AliExpress and sending them direct to your customers? Would you be interested in automating that in a way so, like, all your orders just automatically get sent out with my AI tool? Like, people would pay you for that. So you don't want to be the I'll do anything for anybody sitting around waiting to get hired. And you want to get way more proactive and decide, I'm going to pick a person, I'm going to pick a problem, and then I'm going to focus my effort on, hey, anybody who has this problem, I know what to do about it. And you'll have just a much better solution, and it'll market itself, because it's like, if I'm doing e-commerce and I'm manually filling the fucking Shopify orders and I'm going to AliExpress, like, I don't even need to be sold that hard. I just need to know your shit actually works. That's calling these okay, back to the chat. You should niche it down. You sound like every other person. That's calling these people. Yeah, exactly what I just said. Hey, Frankie, do you have an offer GPT splitter? Or I don't. I have some of my, or spitter. I have some of my own tools that I use for my own sort of like low ticket funnels and for my Google Docs, but they're a little bit different than what you guys are doing. Micah, brother, how was Arkansas? I'm a little sad that I didn't get to go. Taha says, so mostly businesses that have weak websites. I have almost 6K leads. All of them have like outdated websites. I also have a crazy case study of results that I gotten from my clients. Also is $150 a month enough to charge for website hosting maintenance. For website, I'm thinking about 1 to 2K. I'm thinking to increase it when you get more testimonials. I think that's like a generally good idea. What you got, like, you know, $150 a month for hosting and maintenance and updates. That's pretty standard. You'll get clients, by the way, on website hosting where some of them, they'll just pay you $150 a month and you'll never hear from them. Like, I just got a couple of hosting checks this morning. Checks, I mean, they're recurring payments. They're not, nobody sends a check, but I don't even hear from them. Like, I don't even, like, other than the fact that the money comes in, like, I don't do anything for those clients. But you'll get some that, by the way, that like they want to fuck with it. It's like, it's not equitable is what I'm saying. You'll get like 10 clients on maintenance and hosting, and like 8 of them, you never hear from them. One of them wants a minor update every now and then one of them wants to change shit every 6 seconds. So you'll get some of that. But I like the general idea, format, things like that. I use GHL for website and automations for $249 a month and upsell meta ads. There you go. looks like at least that for now, that's all the questions. I wanted just to say that we are putting together an event. It is in Los Angeles for those of you guys who want to come. I'll tell you as a general rule, you're going to make more money if you sell through video than if you sell on sales calls. And I'll tell you why. One, people don't like sales calls any more than you do. Two, it appeals more to busy, successful people with money. And three is one of those hidden metrics of business. If you want to make more money, make more offers. And what I learned is if you do traditional sales calls, you will make exactly one offer per hour on your best hours. And that's the hours where you have face-to-face calls. You talk with somebody for an hour, at the end of it, you'll make one offer. So the most sales you're ever going to make in 1 hour is one offer per hour. And that's when you're booking calls, never mind getting people onto calls and things like that. I realized that video is not constrained by that. Like video can be making offers to 10 different people at once. So I can send the same video to 10 people. They're on their toilet and I get 3 people who go, I'm in. And I just made 10 sales presentations by copying and pasting a link 10 times. And so it's one of my favorite things to do, actually, is like my mentor, Travis Sago, calls this tapping. And when I'm at the park with my kids and they're like running around and I'm just sitting there and I got 10 down minutes, let's do some tapping. Let's send out some videos and like make some offers. And hey, put the details in a video. Check this out. Check that out. And a percentage of those people close. I do the same thing through Google Doc for those of you guys who are, English as a second language and, you don't feel as comfortable in English. If you guys are interested in getting that built, we're doing this workshop style in LA. And the reason I picked workshop style, I love events. They've been really good to me. I've made a lot of money through them. I met some of the coolest people in my life. It's a reason to get out and see cool places in the world. You get to travel and stuff like that. But a lot of times you go to an event and you leave with a to-do list that's 3 weeks long and you never get completed it. You go listen to speakers, you have some good ideas and some notes, but man, like, you got 10 pages of notes and no time to do it. A lot of times you're catching up on the shit you missed because you've been gone to an event. This is workshop style, our LA event, which I just put in the chat there. And workshop style means I'll show you the thing for like an hour, and then we're going to spend the next hour together building it, where I hold your hand through and I'm like, this is what your offer needs to be. This is what you're in demonstration. Let's put these bonuses in it. Let's say it this way. Let's package it that way. And let's build these slides together and actually get it done so that you can close your stuff on video. And I think you'll find when you do it that it's actually easier, man. I really wish I knew that, because in order to sell on video, you have to get your offer in order, and offer-based selling works better than pressure-based selling. So like, I think about 2 companies I think that do offer-based selling really well, McDonald's and Apple. McDonald's does not depend on pimply-faced teenagers to know how to sell. Like, they don't, like, the acne kid has no closing sales skills at all. They just go, get 2 McDoohickeys for $4.99. You see it on the sign. By the way, McDonald's is an offer master because they have a sign, what we would call a tripwire in the internet world, something to get you to stop, pull over to the side of the road. Then they begin the upsells. Would you like to supersize it? Would you like to add 2 apple pies? Would you like to add this? And before you know it, you spent $35, even though you pulled over for a $4.99 offer. And they know how to do that like clockwork. And they do it just through 2 offers. That's all they do. Apple does not train their salespeople. Just so you guys know, if you go to an Apple store, they have no formal sales training at all. So how are they able to sell $1,000 phones with no training? That's a high ticket sale, just, $1,000 phone, no sales training. Well, because the phone is the fucking offer, right? It's like it's a HD fucking camera as good as any other camera on the market. Got all your songs, got all your videos, you put all your apps, you can text your friends, you can take pictures of your boobies. I ain't judging you guys. You can watch all the midget porn you want. Cole, looking at you. Right? So the offer is doing the selling, the phone. So like, that's a big part of video selling, is we switch from pressure-based, vague, unspecific offers, and we get clearer, better, more meaningful promises for your market. Demonstrate it, prove it's real, show them. And then it becomes a pull sale instead of a push sale. And I like pull sales way better. And I'm not bragging. I'm just like telling you guys the fucking truth. There has not been one day in the last 365 days that I have not made money. And I remember thinking, like, back when I used to have a job, like the only thing that keeps you going at a shitty job is, you're going to get a paycheck. And now I live in a paradigm called every day is payday. Every single day of my life is payday. Now, mind you, there's some like small days. Like I have a few days that are just like a few $100. I have some big days. Like I have, multiple 5-figure days in there too. But like every single day, my offers work for me every single day. Like there's not a day that goes by without money coming in. And like, even on Christmas, that blows my mind. Like people buy shit on Christmas. And so I think this is one of those skills that when you learn, holy fuck, does it have profound implications? Because what I started to realize too is the offer making skill is not just selling shit on the internet. Like if I want my kids, like say I got to put my little guy for a nap, Franquito, as we call him. Franquito, we're going for a nap. No, Daddy, I don't want to. Franquito, if you go for a nap, Daddy's going to take you to the water park later. We're going to go to the water park? Yes, but only if you go for a nap right now. It's a conditional offer, right? That's an offer. Hey, go to sleep, do this and you will get. And you realize that even just parenting gets easier if you can pull offers like, do what I want you to do, go the fuck to sleep. And there'll be something in it for you that's substantially cooler than if you don't do that. Or I'll take you to the park. Or if I'm a bad boy, want to get an ice cream? Okay, only if you sleep. So I share that with you guys just because it has like life implications. All your relationships will move forward faster with better offers. By working with as many people as possible, I can find more pain points to solve because when I started, I knew zero info about those people and their struggles. I can't imagine diving straight into a niche. I'll tell you right now, you try to appeal to too many people at once, you say nothing to anybody, and that's the fastest recipe I've ever seen to get broke, which is to say nothing to anybody. Like, way easier to say, hey, I know how to solve this one problem like a fucking boss than to say, hire me and I can do 12,000 things. Because I see this all the time. Like when I used to hire, like, I wouldn't now because we have AI, but a couple of times in my life, I've had to hire programmers. And I just want to know, can you build this one thing I'm trying to build? That's all I want to know. Like, do you know how to build this one fucking thing? And they'll, I get the, no problem, sir. I know how to do PHP, Java, Python, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, great. But do you know how to do this one thing? And they give me the whole menu of all the 150,000 things they know how to do. And I'm still left confused. Can you build the thing I'm trying to do? Like, I don't care how many programming languages, I want my thing built. And that's how most people are, by the way. So I'll tell you right now, you don't have to dive into a niche. But if you try and be everything to everybody, you'll be nothing to any of them. And that's the fastest recipe I've seen to go broke. I'm a generalist, especially if you don't have the face-to-face element. Usually the people who make the generalist model work the fastest have some element of face-to-face. Like they're going to their city, they're going to their networking meeting, they're going to BNI, whatever. You don't have that, you're going to be broke. At what point was my breakthrough in client acquisition? I've had a few of them because I've been doing this 20 years. So my first breakthrough was a shoe store. It's a guy named Rick. Rick came to me and said, hey, I was advertising that I did on a forum that I did some webs like SEO backlink kind of stuff. And he said, I got this plastic surgeon that's a web design client. He wants some help with SEO. Would you be down to show me you can do something for a month? He said, I got a $400 budget. Does that work for you? At that time, that seemed like a fair number. I said, okay. He started on page 20. His name was Dr. Sam. And I got him to like bottom of page 1, like number 7 or something for his main keyword. Rick thought that was amazing. Like, holy shit, he's on the first page. It's only been 30 days. Then he said, can you also do it for this other guy? And what he didn't tell me is that he went to every plastic surgery conference. Like just that was his life, was just going from conference to conference to conference to conference all around the country, big, small, didn't matter. Signing up web design clients. He sold about 400 websites a year, and about 150 of those people needed SEO. That one shoe store gave me hundreds of SEO clients. So that was like my first breakthrough. My second one was actually figuring out how to sell it myself. And it was a function of two main things because I was still doing sales calls in those days. It was how to make the offer work and how to handle objections. Like, and by the way, what most people teach about handling objections is like following scripts, but is actually what I figured out is how to handle objections before they came up. So that it wasn't even a discussion. It was just, here's my credit card. In fact, I would say like even today, like 98% of my sales are closed, no objections, just payment. Let's go. Let's get started. And that's how I like it. I don't want to convince you and try and arm twist you into doing some shit you don't want to do. Fuck that shit. But we're addressing objections. And then my third breakthrough was when I looked out the rear view mirror. Oh, actually, that's not true. Another big sales breakthrough is I got in with an industry association, what we would call a shoe store. And my second agency blew up from that. Like all of a sudden I'm speaking, and all of a sudden like I'm getting to know top lawyers, and people were buying my shit left, right, and center. The last breakthrough is when I figured out how to make those things happen on purpose. The first two times it happened, I was putting myself out there for long periods of time, but it was a lot of right place, right time. Like there was a lot of luck factor in it, just being real with you guys. But now I'm like, holy shit. Like now I see the principles that were working for me. And now I'm like, I can do it on purpose. So like I can go into any industry and like, if I wanted to, I could blow myself up. Metaphorically, not literally, for the TSA that's listening. Hey, Frankie. Sorry, Ta. So sorry. My case, I can't send the same video to everyone as I need to update the mock-up with their clients. I understand. But at the same time, like just make sure you're sending it to the right people. Damn, workshops might actually be a good lead magnet. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Thanks, Frankie. Prospecting time. See you, Kyle. Kyle, I'm hoping to see you as one of the people in LA. I know you said you got some stuff to figure out till like, I think it was middle of next month or something. But I'd love to see you. Anyways, guys, I'm going to call that a show. That's a Monday right here. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to go eat some food. And if you guys have any other questions, you guys can post them in the group or whatever. And just want to say happy Monday. Appreciate you all. If you're interested, check out the event. And anyways, I appreciate you guys coming on here and doing this with me. Like this is fun for me. So much love. Happy Monday. May the Triforce be with you. Peace.